roll. With equipment strong enough to power one of the world's largest celebrations, we've got your needs covered too. Learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com. Some restrictions apply. See dealer for details. Offer ends March 5th, 2025.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
I'm Christine Lisi. It is NFL franchise tag season time. The window has officially opened. The expectation is that Bengals receiver T. Higgins will be among those tagged before the deadline on March 4th. Higgins among a trio of Cincinnati stars who need new contracts that the team will attempt to sign long-term this offseason, along with receiver Jamar Chase and defensive end Trey Hendrickson. This is Football Podcast host Kevin Clark.
My order of operations would be Chase first, second best player on the team, then try to figure out something with T. Higgins, and then look at Hendrickson. You do one thing great, and that's offense. Yeah. And you have to figure out the defense. You have to figure out the entire roster. I would figure out a way to keep those receivers together and then get Trey Hendrickson done.
Kevin Clark on Unsportsmanlike. Former Stanford coach David Shaw, the latest new addition to the Lions 2025 coaching staff. He's Detroit's passing game coordinator under new OC John Morton. Team USA will be without defenseman Charlie McAvoy in the Four Nations Face-Off Championship game Thursday night against Canada, 8 Eastern ESPN. He's out with an upper body injury. Vancouver's Quinn Hughes replaces him on the roster.
Hey, it's your resident Super Bowl champ, Chris Candy, coming up Wednesday. We are weeks away from free agency in the NFL, but it's never too early to tell you the best landing spots for the best available players. It's Unsportsmanlike, 6 a.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio.
Let's ride! Go!
And off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. It's AFR, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. I'm Matt.
Love you, Matt.
Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
Musso. And Mr. Toby Tomplay. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. LSU baseball underway against Southern. Tiger basketball tonight at home against South Carolina. Saints getting busy adding to their coaching staff. Ton to do. Let us begin as we do every single day.
It's time to pop the top on another edition of AFR with Bud Light. Drink easy.
Should mention also Shea Dixon will be here in 15 minutes from right now, as usually is, and John Brady in hour number 2. Kellen Moore, first full week on the job in New Orleans, and has a lot of work to do. Obviously, the New Orleans Saints have to clear a whole bunch of about $50 million in cap space. They got to go through evaluations, their current roster, draft, free agents, all that good stuff. But Kellen Moore's also got to fill out a coaching staff. And that's something that he began doing in earnest here on Tuesday with a trio of additions joining the staff right now. Let's run through each of these if we could. I'll give you a thumbnail on the 3 new additions to the New Orleans Saints coaching staff. And we'll start with what is a very familiar name to New Orleans Saints coaches, players, front office, probably some fans as well. Joel Thomas is headed back to New Orleans as the Saints running backs coach after spending this past season with the New York Giants. Now, if you're not familiar, Joel Thomas is 50 years old, spent 9 years with the New Orleans Saints from 2015 through 2023. Now, he wasn't fired, but he was allowed to pursue the job with the Giants. Effectively, Dennis Allen didn't block him from leaving. Sort of an agreeable departure a year ago. Well, after 1 year in New York without Saquon Barkley. A little bit of a different job coaching the Giants running backs when you don't have Saquon Barkley. Joel Thomas back in New Orleans with the Saints. Of course, last year, running backs coach Derek Foster, who came in for one season. He is now Cowboys running backs coach Derek Foster. So Kellen Moore had a vacancy. I think it speaks to the respect that a guy like Joel Thomas has, not only in the locker room, within the organization, around the NFL. When a coach he's never worked with, after being gone 1 year from New Orleans, brings him back to New Orleans, and how much Joel Thomas wanted to be back with the New Orleans Saints. So Kellen Moore has added Joel Thomas as the running backs coach, who will have the opportunity to coach Alvin Kamara's whole year, except for this past season, and then try to maximize Kendre Miller. Saints have a quarterbacks coach as well. It's Scott Tolzien. If you're a football fan over the last 15 years or so, that name sounds familiar. Tolzien was a quarterback at Wisconsin, you might remember, bounced around the NFL, probably most notably his time with the Indianapolis Colts, where he did start a few games, played in 10 career games with 4 starts. Tolzien's just 37 years old, but there's overlap here. So Tolzien worked with Kellen Moore in Dallas. So he was Tolzien was a coaching assistant in Dallas for 3 seasons, 2021 and 22 with Kellen Moore. And then when Moore left to go to the Chargers last year and then the Eagles this year, Tolzien was elevated to the Cowboys quarterbacks coach. So he's been there in Dallas, Tolzien has, ever since 2020. This is another assistant that knows Kellen Moore well and vice versa. It is worth noting Dallas didn't try to keep Tolzien. His contract expired. They let it expire. They didn't re-sign him. So effectively, Tolzien was a coaching free agent. Of course, Mike McCarthy out, Brian Schottenheimer in. Schottenheimer chose not to retain Tolzien, go in a different direction with the staff. The big question for the Saints, of course, look, Kellen Moore is going to work with the quarterbacks. I mean, he played quarterback. He was a quarterbacks coach. He's offensive coordinator. It's going to call plays. So this role of quarterbacks coach that Scott Tolzien is going to fill is more of an assistant to Kellen Moore type role and not so much of a standalone spot where he's going to have great autonomy or anything like that. The bigger question isn't who's your quarterback's coach. The bigger question is who's your quarterback? And that's something the Saints still got to figure out. And third staff hire that we became aware of on Tuesday is TJ Paganetti off of the Eagles staff. Now, Nick Underhill was the first to report this, and Paganetti, while his title with New Orleans as of right now is unknown, he was the run game coordinator and assistant offensive line coach for the Champs in 2024. It's notable because remember, Brooks Cabina, who was with us last week, was talking about Eagles assistants and how Nick Sirianni handled that, wanting his guys to be able to get head coaching opportunities, but didn't necessarily like guys poaching his staff.
He is very encouraging for all of his coaches to go get head coaching jobs, but once they do, you're not taking any of my guys. He locks down his staff. That's something that he carried over from working with Frank Reich. Frank Reich had the same deal. Support, go get you a job, but these are my guys. This is the success we've had.
So I asked Brooks how many he'd get. He said 2, meaning how many Kellen Moore would take. He said 2, and his guesses were Nussmeier and Kevin Patullo. So far, no word yet on Patullo. There was a report early on from Jeremy Fowler that Patullo was a name to watch, who's the assistant head coach there in Philly. No word there. Kyle Valero is another name that we've heard. That was part of Brooks Cabina's prediction, was Kyle Valero would follow Kellen Moore from Philly, had been with Moore in Dallas as well. But so far, the coaches that have interviewed from the Eagles staff are Doug Nussmeier, Jamal Singleton, Christian Parker. We mentioned Valero, Patullo as possibilities, and now they've hired TJ Paganetti. Again, undetermined yet, undefined what his role will be, and I'm curious what role he fills, because this was a guy that was, in his time as a head coach, has been a running backs coach, a tight ends coach. Here recently in Philadelphia, he was the run game coordinator and assistant offensive line coach. Well, the Saints have already hired Brendan Nugent as the offensive line coach. And remember, Nugent's another guy that has ties to New Orleans. Brendan Nugent, the new offensive line coach, had been in New Orleans from 2015 to 2021. So when Peyton left, obviously, and DA came back in, Nugent was gone. But it is worth mentioning now, the Saints have hired TJ Paganetti, one Eagles assistant. It's likely that Nussmeier becomes the offensive coordinator. Do any of the other guys we mentioned, Valero, Patullo, Parker, Singleton, do any of those guys join Kellen Moore's staff in New Orleans as well? Just something worth keeping an eye on. But as of right now, what we know, 3 assistants have joined Kellen Moore's staff as of Tuesday. 3 more assistants joining Kellen Moore's staff as of Tuesday. I know this was interesting as well. Thank you, Muse. This was when Scott Tolzien spent the last 2 years with the Dallas Cowboys as the quarterback's coach. This was a soundbite from Tolzien at their media availability when he was with Dallas, and just a little perspective on Scott Tolzien as a coach.
From my end, it's more good seasons are going to happen, bad seasons are going to happen. You're always, common sense, but you're trying to emphasize the good and also emphasize the bad. So that one thing I've learned as a coach is you get what you emphasize. So that's obviously starting into this year's season. That's always on the forefront of your mind is like, what are our improvement areas? So, you make cut-ups of those things and you try to bring it to life because the tape never lies, and that always helps support what you're trying to teach and what you're trying to coach.
Smart guy, played quarterback in the NFL, has been coaching offense and quarterbacks in the NFL since 2020, and so a guy that Kellen Moore is now bringing to New Orleans. 3 more hires for the New Orleans Saints. All right, it is After Further Review. Our show open every day is brought to you by Bud Light. Drink easy in Louisiana with the great taste of Bud Light. Remember, they've got the Big Man on the Cul-de-Sac promotion going on right now with Mockler Beverage. If you saw the Super Bowl ad with Shane Gillis and Peyton Manning and Post Malone, where it was the Big Man on the Cul-de-Sac, effectively, they're asking you to post your pictures of being the Big Man on the Cul-de-Sac, even if you don't live in a cul-de-sac. Go to the website or go to any of the Mockler social medias. You'll get it. Post your picture, tag Mockler Beverage, use the hashtag BMOC, and if your photo is entered, you could win really cool prize pack headlined by a Traeger grill. It's freaking awesome. The Traeger grill, the Bud Light leaf blower, which is the Bud Light launcher that in the commercial, the Bud Light grill set, and the grilling apron as well. So check it out. All on their social media at Mockler Beverage to win the Big Man on the Cul-de-Sac sweepstakes. Make sure you drink easy with the great taste of Bud Light, the official beer of the LSU Tigers, the official beer of the New Orleans Saints, and the official beer of AFR. All right, we're glad to have you hanging out with us here, y'all. A lot to do today. We're not going to break. Shea Dixon will join us next. We talk a little recruiting with Shea every Tuesday, so we're excited about that. Since last we spoke, the Tigers picked up a commitment from Bryson Martinez. We've seen one of the top prospects in 2027 reclassified to 2026, which we got to talk about with Shea. So a ton to do as we roll along here. LSU up 8-0 right now on Southern, bottom 4. Ethan Fry just mashed a 3-run homer. So Tigers having their way early against the Jags. Connor Ware got the start. Zach Cohen, the Wofford transfer, came in relief. So Tigers rolling right now out at the box in a little matinee. Stay with us. It's AFR.
After Further Review.
Speaking of Tiger pitchers, man, hat tip to Jacob Myers, who came in studio with us yesterday. Of course, a local product from Santa Ma, went to Nichols, now at LSU, and did an NIL deal with our friends over at Duplessis Builders because Derek is a guy from Ascension Parish, went to Santa Ma himself, who had an opportunity to support a great local kid who persevered, made his way, now living his dream at LSU, and that's the kind of things that Derek wants to support. DuplessisBuilders.net, DuplessisBuilders.net. There's tons of businesses, tons of contractors that'll build you a beautiful pool. I mean, you can go look at galleries and videos and different things of all different types of pool companies. You're going to see lots of beautiful pools. The biggest differentiator with Duplessis is their craftsmanship. It's why Derek offers a 10-year workmanship warranty when the industry standard is 1 year. Learn more. DuplessisBuilders.net, DuplessisBuilders.net.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Need service now? Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram can get you same-day appointments for service, and we offer pickup and delivery of your vehicle from New Orleans to Baton Rouge. If you need sales and service, the crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
All right, every Tuesday we visit with Shea Dixon on 3 the Bengal Tiger. Good enough to join us in transit today. It's Emily Dixon's birthday, so shout out to Emily Dixon. Happy birthday. And we appreciate Emily for loaning you to us for a few minutes, Shea. Thanks for the time. How are you?
Yes, as a media married couple, we know to not turn on the radio when we're calling into the radio. So she did not hear that, but Miss Verna just gave you a birthday shout out. So there you go, Matt.
You just be here. Hey, turn the radio down. That's a typical post-game caller symptom. Yeah, look, turn down your radio. Turn down your radio. Hey, look, since we last spoke, Tigers got a commitment for 2026. Bryce DeMartinez out of East Ascension. Reaction maybe to the timing and the player?
Yeah, I mean this is a big time pickup for a number of reasons. This 2026 class, which are all the guys that are about to be seniors, and the next wave of guys that will sign out of high school, is really deep in Louisiana. I mean, they've had double-digit offers out since a lot of these guys were sophomores. Bryson Martinez got his after his freshman year. And I can remember, Matt, people in Gonzales and East Ascension area sending me cut-ups of him in middle school and being like, yo, this guy's going to be legit. And sure enough, he's 6'5", 290 or whatever as a rising senior, and is ranked unanimously. No recruiting service has him ranked outside of the top 10 offensive tackles anywhere in the country. So last year, or this past cycle, I should say, both in the portal and high school, really, way more interior and guard heavy than tackle, right? To start at the tackle spot with the top 10 tackle from a local kid who, in a deep state cycle next year, like I said, it's a top 5 prospect in Louisiana. that's exactly what you want. So I think that it's one of those things where a local kid says, hey, look, I could either dive into a wave of spring visits and everybody's still calling me, or it's the dead period right now, so we're not taking visits. And I think he kind of settled into the reality of, look, it's a 30-minute drive from my high school to Tiger Stadium. My family can be around, grandma, everybody. So this decision was one I think that kind of in his mind was made when he got that offer at summer camp after his freshman year.
You know, it's interesting, too, Shea. I was noticing it on 3 that Julie Boudouin had an update on Lamar Brown where he kind of listed LSU as his leader. Martinez is the top tackle in the area. Brown's the number 1 interior offensive lineman in the entire country. Can you kind of give us an update there on Lamar Brown with Julie's report over at On 3?
Yeah, and I'll add to it that Lamar is a guy at UI who also plays D-line. So, I mean, there is a route for him to play either in college, not both. You know, I'm not trying to Travis Hunter, the guy here in the trenches, but and I don't think it's set in stone quite yet exactly. Okay, is he best served long-term at D-line or O-line? Now, as you noted, he is ranked as the top interior offensive lineman in America. He's a 5-star. Nothing will take that kind of away from him, no matter what he plays. Now, he's got some official visits scheduled. He said he wants to announce this summer, but he's been pretty outspoken recently about LSU and the impact they've made. And Brian Kelly went over with the staff in January when they could do in-person visits and sat with them for a while at U-High on LSU's campus. And I just feel like for a local kid, they've prioritized them for so long. Like a guy like Martinez. Lamar Brown's had an offer since, God, you'd remember as well as I would, middle school or something, I'm sure. I mean, it's been a long time that they've been after him, and kind of time flies. Here we are. He's about to be a senior, and he's having to make a decision before his senior year, or wanting to. So he went on record and said it. Hey, look, LSU's the team to beat. A&M has made a big impression on him, but I've always thought it was one of those two teams. I know he's got other teams in the mix. He's going to be at Miami. He's going to be at Florida State. But in reality, I think staying home or being within driving distance, like at a school like A&M, it's been after him for a while, would be the two realistic options at this stage.
You know, it's interesting, Shea. When Keelan Moses had Lamar Brown in our studio on his podcast, I was here that day. Lamar came in with an Oregon shirt on. And I don't read too much into that. I think it was just cool swag that he got when he visited Oregon. Is that not a possibility? Maybe that Oregon or a team like that could jump into this race for Lamar Brown?
I don't count anything out in the NIL era. Now, he said that kind of when talking about the teams beyond those 4 that he's going to take official visits to make official visits to, that he's hearing a lot from Bama, Georgia, Tennessee, Southern Cal. So Oregon wasn't kind of mentioned in that mix. And Oregon recruits pretty nationally. So not a shock that they're not going to be able to stay in it with every kid out there. So now maybe that isn't a big worry, nor is Ohio State kind of on the short list. So barring a big shift, I think it's LSU or A&M. And my pick's been on LSU for a while. And look, people think it's easy, but that's a risky pick. They've not had the greatest success out of U-High because sometimes kids just don't want to go to college where they've already been going to high school and they're in for 4 years or more.
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, every kid could. I mean, just think in terms not just of football. Like sometimes kids just want to leave the state. It does make sense. Shea Dixon's with us on 3, the Bengal Tiger. He's on Twitter at Shea Dixon. Shea, there was another bit of recruiting news since last we spoke, and Boobie Feaster is reclassified. Can you just give us the who, what, where, when, why, how with Feaster?
Yes. So the best one, first name is not really Boobie, but that's what everyone calls him, and I think that's what he will officially show up as when you put him into the athletic directory or roster of whatever school he goes to. But he's been a star at DeSoto for his freshman year on, and that's really hard to do at wide receiver in East Texas. I mean, Jalen Mills and Ed Ingram, a number of guys have come out of that program to LSU and been very successful. And they send guys all over, especially at Texas, A&M, all those schools. But he kind of sent a little bit of the shockwaves came when a week ago he was considered one of the best receivers in next year's class. Well, now he's reclassified, and now he's in the current class. Well, LSU already has commits from two of the best receivers in Louisiana, including two guys who made first-team All-State, and Kenny Darby out of Airline, who led the state receiving. And they've got the lead for Jabari Mack, a Destrian kid who's a top 50 player in the country and the number one ranked receiver in the state. And they're really in it with Tristan Keys, who is at my alma mater, Hattiesburg High in South Mississippi. Look, Hattiesburg's closer to Baton Rouge than Ole Miss and Starkville are, and Tuscaloosa, wherever other SEC schools might be recruiting them. And we saw it work with P.J. Woodland out of Hattiesburg. They just got Tyler Miller out of Laurel. So they're hitting that Pine Belt area. Donovan Tate just got promoted into a bigger recruiting role at LSU. He went to Hattiesburg High around the same time I did, so they've got connections there. And now you toss in Boobie Feaster, who automatically, despite the fact that he's a year younger than all these guys, got ranked inside the top 10 receivers. This could be, we already talked about it on the show, but this could be a banner year and back to, whoa, how did LSU sign, Malik and Justin Jefferson and Jamar and Terrace and all these kids? Like, I think that's what we're about to run into again here with this 2026 class, when that settles and you see them play and then they go on to the NFL. You're like, wow, all those dudes were in Louisiana at the same time. And Feaster's from Louisiana, moved over to Texas, I guess, it was a number of years ago, but he played in DeSoto, but he very much considers himself a Louisiana native. So LSU is in a very good spot there.
Shea, one quick follow-up. All the guys, maybe it's not all these guys. Maybe it's just a few, but we were so high profile with Jakeem Stewart, now with Feaster. And why are we seeing guys reclassify? Is that becoming more common now?
It's all in Colin Hurley did as well. It's a variety of reasons. Quarterback is where we've always seen, right? And sometimes, you'll have a quarterback, but he's a year older than everybody else, right? He got held back at some point along the way, probably for developmental reasons, physically, I'm saying, so that then he would be in a good spot as senior year of high school to get a college scholarship, all that. So when they reclassify into another grade, they end up being in the grade they should be in, type of thing. Now we're starting to see it at other positions with kids who just think they're ready. And multiple kids have gone on record and were fairly highly ranked, know where things stand, and said, look, I can get my academics in order, and that puts you one step closer to college and NIL, which wasn't a thing before. So anyone who tells you that really big-name kids are reclassifying doesn't have at least something to do with NIL would be fooling themselves. I think that they see it as, hey, if I'm getting the green light and I can do it academically and I'm physically ready to compete at that level, once I get there, I can make sure that I am, then they're setting it up and making the move. We've seen it more often now than really at any other point. We'll have to put together the data later, but that used to be something just quarterbacks did. Now all of a sudden, a lot of guys are classified.
Shea Dixon on 3, the Bengal Tiger. Hey, before you go, recruiting calendar, what's sort of next in the next several days or weeks?
This is what we call heaven on earth right now. It's the dead period. So no coaches see kids in person. Everybody takes some time off. But in March, we'll kick it back up, and spring practice will be here in no time. So that will be a big focal point for them. And during this Kelly regime is getting guys in there to watch practice. Same thing Orgeron did is, hey, look, instead of bringing them in for the weekend when they're not doing anything, bring them in on a weekday or a Saturday when we do practice, and let them sit in film and let them watch practice and get a good vibe for kind of how we run the program and see if it's a fit for them. So there'll be a lot of that coming up before we start official visits in late April, May, and into June. So this is the time to kind of sit back and breathe a little bit. And LSU's got one of the best classes, the number one class in the SEC right now. Number 2 on 3, I believe, number 3 on the industry rankings. So a very good start, and now we'll see how they build it out from here.
Shea Dixon on 3, the Bengal Tiger. You'll get him on Twitter at Shea Dixon. All right, man, we appreciate it. Again, tell Emily we said happy birthday. Y'all enjoy the evening, man. Thank you.
happy birthday from the ESPN family. And there you go. Oh, she said happy anniversary to you for work anniversary.
I appreciate it. 15 years, man. It's been a long time, man.
Congrats, Moscona. That's awesome.
We've known each other longer than that, man, all of us, which is crazy in and of itself.
Don't be aging me like that and dragging me into your 15 years.
Hey, you were 6 years old when you started working the recruiting beat. That's all.
That's right.
So congrats on making 21 years old, Shea. You can buy beer now.
That's right.
All
4
right.
years away from renting a car. I'll see you, Matt.
Shea Dixon. All right, it's after further review. We're brought to you by Shawbills Tire and Auto Service. ShawbillsTire.com. Locations all over South Louisiana. Thinking of buying tires. If you need tires, buy the best tires on the road at the cheapest price possible. That's at Shawbills. Name brand tires at wholesale prices. And remember, always ask about the Shawbills credit card, because with the Shawbills credit card, you get VIP pricing. And you could pay for it over 6 months. 6 months interest-free when you use the Shawbills credit card. So go to ShawbillsTire.com. That's ShawbillsTire.com. Shawbills, where we keep you rolling. Okay, when I got a quick break, we'll go around the SEC when we come back. LSU and Southern out at the box right now. The top five, and LSU leading 11-0. It's all Tigers here on this day out at Alec Box Stadium. So we'll keep you up to date as that one rolls along. John Brady, 1 hour from right now, and yeah, that's it for guests today. Okay, it's AFR. Stick around.
After further review.
We're brought to you by Glow Resources, GLO, glowresources.com. They are complete employer solutions. If you're a business owner and you need to maximize productivity, it's all about having the right people. Right people and the right seats on the bus. That's what Glow Resources does. They're complete employer solutions. So if you need skilled blue-collar labor, they'll find it. Having trouble finding people that are reliable, dependable, show up on time, work hard, they're efficient, Glow Resources finds those people. They also have their professional placement division. Any type of white-collar job, any type of office job. You need help with accounting or finance or legal or anything. C-level management. Glow Resources can help you find those right people. They conduct some 15,000 interviews over the course of a year. They know where to look and the right questions to ask to find you the right people. That's why they have a 96% success rate. It's Glow Resources. GLO, glowresources.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
There's never been a better time to catch a John Deere deal from the crew of Sunshine. Ask us about our low monthly payment options on our tractor packages, and let the good times roll. With equipment strong enough to power one of the world's largest celebrations, we've got your needs covered too. Learn more about what it means to be powered by Sunshine at sunequip.com. Some restrictions apply. See dealer for details. Offer ends March 5th, 2025.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood Subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
and looking forward to 50 more.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Auctioner Andrews.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
Hot summer sun over by the gate, Lordy, here she comes with a basket full of chicken and a big cold jug of sweet tea.
A big shout out to Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. It's carnival season, y'all. You'll be out at parades. You know you'll see those big John Deere tractors pulling the floats. Of course, part of every celebration is a big green tractor from John Deere. Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. All right, LSU baseball up 11-0 on Southern. It's been all Tigers early and often. LSU put up a 2 spot in the first. They just put up a big 8 spot in the fourth. Ethan Fry had a 3-run homer, kind of highlighting that inning. I think we're not surprised there. There's been a couple of swinging bunt hits that Southern has airmailed down the line. They're just not a very good baseball team. It's just a completely different class of baseball. But, LSU's got 11 runs on 13 hits. Southern is actually yet to record a hit so far through 4 1/3. So, I'm sorry, through 5. So, as for LSU, I think the bigger question here was going to be, not question, it was just, was going to be more interesting, was going to be to watch these pitchers. Because coming out of the weekend, there were 3 guys who we didn't see pitch that we're all excited to see pitch. And one is Gavin Guidry, who's we know what Gavin is. It's going to be interesting to see what his role is. My guess is after not starting today and now having seen Connor Ware and Zach Cohen, that Guidry likely, I think, is going to be the guy that starts tomorrow. But against Nichols, remember, LSU plays tomorrow night at Nichols, so it's 5 games in 6 days. So I do understand from Jay's perspective and Nate Yeski's perspective, 5 games in 6 days, that's a lot of innings that you have to eat up. And so you need some guys at times to extend and to give you length. Each of your starters over the weekend gave you 5. Connor Ware gave you 3 innings of no-hit baseball. Struck out 2. He walked 1. The one walk was one that kind of got away from it. It was a borderline pitch, the one that they called ball 4, but he got behind the count 2-1, got a couple of foul balls, was ahead in the count, and then ultimately ball 3, ball 4. But aside from that, really solid outing by Connor Ware. Nobody really hit him hard throughout his 3 innings. And again, he didn't give up a hit. Cohen has gone 2 innings so far. He struck out 2, has yet to give up a hit, and he's faced the minimum. So far, so good, man. And I understand that all these guys are facing. There's Purdue, Fort Wayne, and now Southerners overmatched baseball teams. So I'm not trying to oversell anything. But we've mentioned LSU lost to Southern a year ago. And there's been times where LSU has gone against overmatched teams and not played as well. So to come out the way they have, to play clean baseball, to pitch it, to throw strikes. Again, today, 4 strikeouts, just the 1 walk. To throw strikes, to play clean defense behind these pitchers. Chris Stanfield in this game had a beautiful diving catch in center field in the early going. So, nice to see. As I look up here right now, Ashton Larson, who did not start today after a massive game on Sunday, is pinch hitting. He's up there right now with a 2-2 count, 11-0 lead in the bottom 5. Did they set the run rules in effect? It's got to be, right?
I didn't hear them say that earlier, but yes, I'm assuming that it is too, yes.
So they have to declare before the game if run rule is in effect. So if a team is leading by 10 through 7, they can call the game after 7 innings. So LSU's up 11-0 right now. They're in the bottom of the 5th. So LSU 6 outs away, I would presume, from a run rule win over Southern, provided they could keep the Jags off the board here in the next 2 innings. But we'll keep you posted as that moves along. All right, it's After Further Review. We're glad you're with us. Brought to you by Michelli Weighing and Measurement, Michelli.com, Michelli.com. More than 30 offices across 13 different states. If you weigh or measure something, Michelli sells, services, and rents the products that you use to weigh and measure, and they are hiring. Look, when you got 30 offices across 13 different states, chances are you're always looking for people. And at Michelli, they are. So go to Michelli.com, hit the careers tab at the top right, and you can see all the different jobs that they have available, all the different job openings that they have right now. Again, go to Michelli.com, hit the careers tab at the top right of the homepage, and you'll see every job that's listed there at all of their different locations at Michelli.com. Just hit the open positions tab, and you'll see it right there. Michelli Weighing and Measurement, Michelli.com, Michelli.com. Okay, do it every day about this time. Let's go around the SEC.
Around the SEC, bringing you the biggest news from the nation's best conference, the Texas Longhorns.
Former Oklahoma State assistant coach Jason McIndoe has joined Texas's staff. He's 49 years old, spent a decade with Mike Gundy there in Stillwater, primarily coaching tight ends and fullbacks. He's actually was a college teammate with Jeff Banks and Johnny Nansen, who are both on the Texas staff as well. Over the last 4 seasons, McIndoe coached 5 tight ends to all Big 12 honors.
The Tennessee Volunteers.
Vols are promoting within for one of their coaching vacancies. They're promoting defensive analyst Lavorne Harbin to an assistant role as outside linebackers coach. Harbin has been kind of a behind-the-scenes guy there since joining the staff in 2021. Pretty key recruiter on staff as well. His salary was $325K as an analyst, so he was the highest-paid off-field staffer in the SEC a year ago.
The Auburn Tigers.
Kenyatta Watson is staying at Auburn after a push from Notre Dame. Irish kind of took a swing at him. Florida also made a run at Watson to try to get him away. In his first year on the Plains, Watson was a key figure for several recruits, including 5-star quarterback Deuce Knight. Before Auburn, he had spent time at Florida State and Georgia Tech.
The Oklahoma Sooners.
Oklahoma wrestler and son Jacob Henry, the son of former Olympian and WWE star Mark Henry, has committed to the Oklahoma football program as a walk-on. 6 foot, 285. He's a 3-star defensive line prospect coming out of high school. The number 217 defensive lineman in the 2024 class. He's a 3-sport standout, but he's going to join Oklahoma as a walk-on defensive lineman.
The Florida Gators.
Quarterback DJ Lagway has launched a foundation in partnership with UF Health. That's pretty cool. Lagway will hold a ceremony to announce the foundation officially at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill in Gainesville next month, with all the proceeds going toward UF's health initiatives for underserved youth.
The Kentucky Wildcats.
A couple of basketball notes. Mark Pope shared an injury on Jackson Robinson, the Kentucky guard, not doing any work presently with the injured right hand. Mark Pope made the revelation on his radio show. Robinson hurt his wrist back on February the 7th. Been arguably the best player on the team, averaging 13 points per game.
The Alabama Crimson Tide.
Forward Darion Reed suffered a setback with his hamstring injury after the Auburn game. So Nate Oates said Reed get a second MRI. It's doubtful for the game this week against Missouri. Former McDonald's All-American, averaging 7 points and 3 boards this year.
The Georgia Bulldogs.
And Georgia baseball player Dylan Goldstein has filed a lawsuit against the NCAA. For an additional year of eligibility, arguing his year of junior college should not count toward his eligibility. He's seeking a preliminary injunction so he can return to play for Georgia this weekend. Goldstein's a grad student, played in 52 games with 41 starts a year ago at Georgia. We will keep you posted. All right, there you have it. That is Around the SEC. Tuesday shows powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. Great time to get all that equipment serviced here during the cold weather months before spring cranks up and you're firing up all that quick equipment again. You can buy any of your Sunshine dealers. Bunkie and below, it's Sunshine. Sunequip.com, Sunequip.com. Okay, y'all. We'll knock out a quick break. Come back, wrap up hour number 1. We'll have John Brady with us in about 45 minutes from right now. LSU basketball back on the floor tonight against South Carolina. We'll preview that. But there's also been scuttle a lot when we've talked about it last week. I know Shea had a report about it yesterday as well. That LSU is retaining Matt McMahon, and they're going to invest in. We've told you a lot of the NIL dollars, but one of the other things that I'm hearing is expecting sometime here soon, perhaps in the next month, certainly this spring, that they're going to announce a new arena, plans for a new arena out at LSU. And look, Coach Brady had this job for a decade, And I think he can certainly speak to the challenges that are present, some of the opportunities, and the job man's done sitting courtside calling all these games. So Coach Brady always great perspective, and excited to talk to him about that. So we'll do that here in about 45 minutes from right now. All right, wrapping up hour number 1 next on AFR.
AFR.
We're brought to you by River City's 1 Hour Air, where they're always on time or you don't pay a dime. 62 degrees in Baton Rouge right now, but the freeze is on, y'all. I mean, thing can't make up its mind what it wants to be. Does it want to be 80? Does it want to be snowing? Does it want to be somewhere in between? But no matter what, you got to keep your home climate controlled. So whatever's going on with your HVAC system, if it's the AC when those temps get back into the 80s, if it's your heater when we got these deep freezes coming along, you can always call our friends at River City's 1 Hour Air if you have any issues. 752-0001, 752-0001, or 1hourbr.com. Spell it out, O-N-E, 1hourbr.com. Like they always say, we're always on time or you don't pay a dime. They value your time and they value your money. They schedule time to be at your house. If they're 1 minute late, you don't come out of pocket 1 cent. And at River City's 1 Hour Air, of course, they'll always find ways to save you money, like the Moscona Special. Well, they save you $30 on any system repair. It's River City's 1 Hour Air.
Need service now? Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram can get you same-day appointments for service, and we offer pickup and delivery of your vehicle from New Orleans to Baton Rouge. If you need sales and service, the crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
There's never been a better time to catch a John Deere deal from the crew of Sunshine. Ask us about our low monthly payment options on our tractor packages and let the good times roll. With equipment strong enough to power one of the world's largest celebrations, we've got your needs covered too. Learn more about what it means to be powered by Sunshine at sunequip.com. Some restrictions apply. See dealer for details. Offer ends March 5th, 2025.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
She thinks my tractor's sexy. It really turns her on.
Not that this would come as any surprise to anyone, but Josina Anderson is reporting that the New Orleans Saints are currently working to finalize a deal with Eagles quarterback coach Doug Nussmeier to become the team's next offensive coordinator. Sean Fazand and others on the Saints beat have also reported the same. So that's obviously no big surprise. Nussmeier has been with Kellen Moore ever since Kellen Moore came into the NFL as a coach in 2018. They were together in Dallas from 18 to 22, with the Chargers in 23, this year with the Eagles in 24. So I don't think it's any surprise. That was the first name everybody mentioned and the one that everyone assumed. Now, they did have to go through they did have to satisfy the Rooney Rule. The Saints did. So they had to interview a minority candidate. And now that they're have satisfied the Rooney Rule, they're clear to hire who they want. It appears that it will be Doug Nussmeier. Now, nothing's been finalized yet, which is worth noting. I mean, it's not done until it is, but you would assume they'd be able to come to terms and get this done, and that Nussmeier would leave his position as a position coach, their quarterbacks coach in Philly, to come be the offensive coordinator with Kellen Moore in New Orleans, place that drafted Doug Nussmeier back in 1994 when he was a quarterback coming out of the draft. So the homecoming of sorts for Doug Nussmeier, and obviously it brings him closer to his son. Garrett will be playing for LSU. I guess it's worth noting, I mean, while yes, the proximity makes it easy that you're drivable, you don't have to hop on a plane, it's also probably not as likely, that Doug would get to see Garrett play in person. I guess there's a possibility that there's a Saturday night, if you get your walkthroughs done, he could pop up to Baton Rouge and catch a game. But at the same time, like, normally you're at the team hotel that night before, you're locked down, the day before a game. So we'll see how ultimately that goes, if it does allow Doug to be more available to see Garrett play in his final season of college, just being close. But again, looks like they're close to getting this deal done to make Doug Nussmeier the new offensive coordinator of the New Orleans Saints. All right, it is After Further Review. We're glad you're hanging out with us here. You can always email us, tweet us, text us in the 225-396-4400, 396-4400, 396-4400. Lots of ways that you can get involved in the show. One quick note. I think it's a great note. ESPN has announced that Joe Buck is going to be calling a Major League Baseball game, a national telecast, for the first time since 2021. Of course, Joe Buck was the voice of the World Series for more than 2 decades at Fox. And whenever he left Fox to take the deal at ESPN with Troy Aikman to call Monday Night Football, he left his chair at Fox calling not only the number one Fox game, but also Fox's MLB package, which included the World Series. So Joe Buck has only called one baseball game. He joined Chip Carey last year for one broadcast, of the local broadcast of a St. Louis Cardinals game. Other than that, Joe Buck has not called baseball since 2021. And it's interesting to me because I know there's a lot of Joe Buck hate, which is odd. I mean, maybe that's just the internet, and the internet kind of hates everything. But Joe Buck really has been the soundtrack to my generation's biggest baseball moments. And it's appropriate because his dad, Jack Buck, is arguably the most legendary baseball voice of all time. Probably Vin Scully, Jack Buck would probably be hand in hand, 1-2, 1A, 1B, however you'd want to say it. But Joe Buck has had some amazing calls throughout his career. I mean, 2011, the David Freese call was, an all-timer.
Freese hits it in the air to center. We will see you tomorrow night.
Freese hits in the air to center. We'll see you tomorrow night. The beauty of a play-by-play man, especially on television, is you let the images tell the story, and you get out of the way. Something a lot of play-by-play men don't know how to do. In particular, some boxing analysts who try to call football that are very, very bad at it. Just what it is. I'm not a Cubs fan, but I slept through this one.
Done it before. Here's the 0-1. This is going to be a tough play. The Cubs win the World Series. Brian makes the play. It's over, and the Cubs have finally won it all.
I think I've told the story of that before. There was the rain delay of that game, and I fell asleep, like, sitting on the ground with my back up against the couch. You know, I was just sitting.
Yeah, I was confused when you said on the ground, but I got you.
I was I knew if I had sat on the couch, I probably would have fallen asleep. But anyway, so I was sitting on the ground, back against the couch, looking up at the TV, and I woke up. That was during the rain delay, and I woke up and the Cubs were celebrating on the field. So I missed the last out of that game. I mean, whenever the resumption came, I fell asleep during the rain delay and woke up looking at the celebration. So, 1908 to 2016, 108 years in the making, and I missed it. So, I'll hang around for another 108 years. Maybe we'll catch another one. Who knows? The Giants in 2010 when they broke through.
Here it is. Struck him out. And for the first time since 1954, the Giants are world champions.
And, of course, Joe Buck honors our very own here every single day, 3 times a day, as a matter of fact.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
I mean, you got a goat like Paul O'Neill, right? Deserves a goat call, right, Paulie? Little goat call there from the goat.
The best one he's got.
No doubt. Anyway, so Joe Buck, he'll call. I should mention, by the way, he's going to call opening day. The Yankees on opening day. Yankees Brewers on opening day. So for ESPN, he said it's not a return to baseball. He's not resuming baseball duties. This is a one-off on opening day where they have a doubleheader, so he'll be able to call Yankees and Brewers on opening day. All right, it's After Further Review. We're glad you're hanging out with us here. Sports Center's coming up. Let's get you caught up on national headlines. When we come back, today, officially at 3 o'clock, NFL teams were allowed to start using the franchise tag designation. I want to look at 3 players, and I really think there's only 3, that there's even a remote possibility that the Saints could use the franchise tag on. We'll do that when we come back right after SportsCenter.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by First South Farm Credit. If you're thinking of buying land, your first call should be to First South Farm Credit. So start there. FirstSouthLand.com. That's FirstSouthLand.com for First South Farm Credit. There's so many reasons to call First South Farm Credit, but primarily, for more than 100 years, they've done one thing: help Louisianians buy land. And look, they've got offices in Louisiana, in Mississippi, in Alabama. There's offices near you and branches near you. So if you want to do business with someone who lives where you live and talks like you talk, you can do it, no matter where that land is you want to buy. If it's 20 acres in Tangipahoa Parish, if it's 100 acres for a hunting camp in Mississippi or Texas, if you want to buy farmland, you want to buy timber property as an investment, no matter what, First South Farm Credit can make that happen. So your first call, your first option should be First South Farm Credit. Go to FirstSouthLand.com.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared toward seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac. Our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. One of the key parts, this NFL offseason is underway with the franchise tag window opening up today. Bengals likely will use the tag on receiver T. Higgins for a second straight year if the sides don't work out a long-term contract by the March 4th deadline. Cincinnati is aiming this offseason to sign receiver Jamar Chase, defensive end Trey Hendrickson, and Higgins long-term. ESPN NFL insider Adam Schefter.
I don't know how you pay Joe Burrow in the 50s and Jamar Chase 40, and T. Higgins is going to play on a franchise tag for 26 on the second franchise tag, and then Trey Hendrickson takes a modest raise. They have some decent cap space going in. I just think it's probably hard to do all of those things.
Adam Schefter on Unsportsmanlike. David Shaw is returning to coaching for the first time since serving as Stanford's head coach for 11 seasons. He's been hired as the Lions' passing game coordinator. Team USA and Bruins defenseman Charlie McAvoy, with an upper body injury, will not play in the Four Nations Face-Off Championship game Thursday versus Canada, 8 Eastern on ESPN. Vancouver's Quinn Hughes replaces McAvoy on the Americans roster.
Hey, it's your resident Super Bowl champ, Chris Candy, coming up Wednesday. We are weeks away from free agency in the NFL, but it's never too early to tell you the best landing spots for the best available players. It's Unsportsmanlike, 6 a.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio.
Let's ride! Go!
Hour 2, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. I'm Matt.
You're a loser, man!
Hey, shut up, kid. Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
You so. And Mr. Toby Tomplay. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there, make it a good one. John Brady in 30 minutes from right now. Tiger basketball, try to make it 2 in a row. And we'll talk to Coach Brady about all the other stuff that Matt McMahon's, the challenges he's facing this year, moving forward, NIL, the arena, all that stuff. Guy who knows it well. I mean, coach here for a decade. So I will talk about that with Coach Brady in about 30 minutes from right now. Baseball Tigers are up 12-1 on Southern right now, so the run rule is in effect. Tigers batting the bottom of the 6th. They're 3 outs away from ending this one. So when it goes final, we'll let you know. But they've already got a threat going here as they've completely emptied the benches. But first and second, nobody out. Mick Paul at first, Mick Paul at second, Jake Brown at first, and John Pearson strikes out looking there for the first out of the 6th. So let's see if the Tigers can build on their lead a little bit here. All right, it's after further review. With the New Orleans Saints, we're focusing so much on Kellen Moore building his staff and what they're going to do in free agency, what they're going to do with Derek Carr, so many giant question marks, that the franchise tag is sort of an ancillary piece of this roster. But here today, Tuesday, the ability for teams to use the franchise tag designation opened, that window opened. And so I'd be remiss if we didn't at least talk about it. First, if you're not familiar, the franchise tag effectively is a tool that allows you. I know probably a lot of you understand it, but let me just explain for maybe those of you that don't. The franchise tag is a tool that allows teams to retain their free agent talent without committing to them long term. Now, it's very expensive, but it allows you to keep your better players without making the long-term investment. Think of it as renting as opposed to buying. Like, if you go rent a house, a lot of times it costs you more per month to rent than your mortgage would if you buy a house with a 30-year mortgage, right? But you're locked into a 30-year mortgage as opposed to you have a lease where if it's monthly or whatever, you can get out of it. So that's kind of the purpose of a franchise tag. For the New Orleans Saints, and by the way, the value of the franchise tag is the average salaries, the average contracts of the top 5 players at that position over the previous 5 years, or 120% of your previous contract, whichever number is higher. But basically, it's generally always going to be the average of the top 5 salaries the previous 5 years. And it goes by position. So if you look at the players that are free agents for the New Orleans Saints this year, I really think there's only 3. There's only 3 that you would even consider, like that we would even entertain the conversation about using the franchise tag. It's Chase Young, Juwan Johnson, and Paulson Adebo. Now, I'll be very clear before I go any further. I do not think the Saints should, and I do not think the Saints will use the franchise tag for any of these players. Okay, but just for the sake of having this conversation. Chase Young, the franchise tag price this year for a defensive end is $24.7 million. So if the Saints wanted to franchise tag Chase Young, it would cost them $24.7 million. For Paulson Adebo, the franchise tag number for a cornerback is $20.3 million. And for a tight end, if they wanted to franchise tag Juwan Johnson, that number is $14.2 million. Overthecap.com, for example, looks at metrics and numbers and all that and puts together a valuation, a projected valuation for each player. So I told you Chase Young, if they wanted to franchise tag him, that value would be $24.7 million. Over the Cap estimates Chase Young's valuation at $13 million. So you're talking $11 million more than his valuation. Juwan Johnson, his valuation at $6 million. And Paulson Adebo, his valuation at $1.2 million. Remember, Adebo's coming off the really devastating leg fracture, which, God, it sucks for Paulson Adebo. I'm super sympathetic there. I mean, this is a guy that was in his contract year, going into free agency, has been a starter, has been a good player for you. And in his contract year, he suffers a broken leg, and it effectively just neuters his free agency value. I just told you, like, the franchise tag for a cornerback would be $20.3 million. Over the Cap estimates Paulson Adebo's value at $1.2 million average annual value. So that sucks. I mean, it just sucks for Paulson Adebo. You know, I think so I do not think the Saints are even going to entertain the franchise tag. The last time they used it was for Marcus Williams back in 2021. So it's been 5 years or 4 years even since the Saints used the franchise tag. I think the bigger question is, do you have the opportunity to retain those 3 players I just mentioned in free agency? And there's a couple of factors. Number one, you got to clear up your cap situation to get within cap compliance and free up enough money to where you can afford to sign your free agents. That's one. Number two, what is the market for these players? Like, are you going to have to get into a bidding war for these players and have somebody outbid you in theory? And then number three is, like, do they want to come back? Or do you want to come back and be part of what is a perceived rebuild, or do you want to go try to win? Now, you have 3 relatively young players there with Young, Johnson, and Adebo that I don't think any of them feel like they're staring at the light at the end of their tunnel of their career, and it's getting brighter. But I mean, it's also odd to think, the Saints have missed the playoffs for 4 consecutive years now. So are you wanting to hang around and keep missing the playoffs when you've never tasted that? Regardless of what we all perceive the success of this franchise to have been over the last 2 decades, the recent history is Saints aren't a playoff team. They've made the playoffs in 4 years. If I look at each of them individually, Young, Johnson, and Adebo, I think Chase Young is going to have a very healthy market. The question for Chase Young through his first 4 years in the NFL had been, can he stay healthy? He was healthy as a rookie. He was healthy a year ago, and he was very productive. The middle 2 years, when he suffered injuries, it became more complex. He played all 17 games in New Orleans this year, one of the league leaders in quarterback hurries, played 17 games at 5.5 sacks. He showed he could stay healthy and be a productive player at creating pressures off the edge. There's going to be a market for Chase Young. He said he's open to returning to New Orleans, but is New Orleans able? One thing it's so odd with the Saints because this is a team that the way they spend and the way they structure and then restructure is so fiscally irresponsible. It's counterintuitive that an organization that is so fiscally irresponsible with how they structure and restructure deals, has hard and fast limits on what they'll spend on their free agents, right? Like whenever Mark Ingram left New Orleans for Baltimore, we learned that the difference in the contract ended up being just a couple $100,000, like something so negligible. But they had their number, they weren't going over. So chances are with a guy like Chase Young, where he has a market, the Saints are going to have their number. They're not going to go over. My guess is some other team will. It's interesting about Juwan Johnson because we always kind of had this perception that he had kind of quote-unquote disappointing season. But in a year where Chris Olave, Rashid Shaheed, Taysom Hill, all were injured, Juwan Johnson was your top pass catcher this year. He caught 50 balls for 548 yards to go along with 3 touchdowns. Now, Juwan Johnson met with reporters about a month ago and talked about his sort of impending free agency and what he was looking at.
It is interesting, but I feel like the biggest thing is just embracing what I have now. I've been here for 5 years, undrafted guy, seeing a lot of people come and go. I think the biggest thing is just enjoying what I have here with the guys that I have. Honestly, you never know how it looks next year. People go different places. I may go different places. You just never know. It's the business. It's just what it is.
It's an interesting way to look at it. You remember that was a guy who went to Penn State, transferred to Oregon, was a receiver, came to New Orleans, was a big-bodied receiver. They converted him to tight end, and they've made it work to where he's been a productive player. He made the team as an undrafted rookie free agent and has been a productive player for the New Orleans Saints. However, my hope for Juwan Johnson, the human, and look, since he's been here, Juwan and his wife got married. They very publicly chronicled their journey through their attempts to become pregnant and then having their child born. They've been very public about that on social media. I'm sure there's an emotional tie to the city and the franchise and everything that it's been. The other part of that is, man, you may only hit free agency once in your career, where you're a young veteran and you have value, and you have to maximize it. So I wouldn't blame Juwan Johnson one bit if he went and tested the market and cashed out to whatever the highest degrees. And maybe that's in New Orleans. It'd be great if he's back. He wants to be here. That's awesome. But I also wouldn't fault the guy if at this point in his life, he said, look, this may be my one shot at signing my biggest contract. I'd be doing myself a disservice if I didn't go at least see what the market would bear. And then there's Paulson Adebo, who, as we talked about, it just sucks for him, man. That was a guy that opted out during the COVID year, slipped a little in the draft as a result. Saints pulled the trigger. He's been a starting player for New Orleans ever since he came into the league, and he just had this devastating injury in his contract year. So where does that leave it? Probably mutes the market a bit for him. And if that's the case, that may end up being to the Saints' benefit. And, I know we've talked a lot about Paulson Adebo and his issue with penalties, things like that, since he's been in New Orleans. But when I look at what you have with Alontae Taylor, who I don't know that he's a boundary corner in the NFL, and Kool-Aid McKinstry, who used a second-round pick on a year ago and played a lot for you out of necessity, both at slot and boundary corner. I don't know if Taylor and Kool-Aid are guys that can be boundary corners. We know Paulson Adebo can be that. I'm not saying he's an all-pro, but he's a starting cornerback in the NFL. And that injury may end up being to the Saints' benefit if you end up getting Adebo on what amounts to a bargain basement deal as a result of him seeing his market evaporate because of the injury. It would suck if it happened that way, but it might be to the Saints' benefit. So, again, franchise tag window is open. I cannot see a reality where the Saints use it, but the 3 players that are going into free agency that you would love to have back in some way if it would work, Chase Young, Juwan Johnson, Paulson Adebo. We'll see what the Saints are able to make work with new coach Kellen Moore. All right, it's After Further Review. We're glad you're with us. We're brought to you by Supper Club. Closed on Monday, but they're reopened. As a matter of fact, they're opening up here in less than an hour right there on Perkins Road in Baton Rouge. Maybe you don't live in Baton Rouge, but something that I hear from my friends over at Supper Club all the time, talk to Brandon and Mackenzie and Chef Layton, is that people from all over the state will either do day trips or plan trips to Baton Rouge to go to Supper Club. So like maybe you're listening in Alexandria or Lafayette or Lake Charles or New Orleans or North Louisiana. Like, what if you planned a trip to come down, maybe watch baseball at the box, catch a day game on Saturday, and then get over for dinner Saturday night at Supper Club, something like that. Maybe a Friday night dinner at Supper Club and watch a day game Saturday out at the box. Whatever it may be, wrap your trip to Baton Rouge around a trip to Supper Club right there on Perkins Road. Go experience for yourself what I have told you about, what so many have shown you on social media and everywhere else for the last 2 years since they opened their doors. Supper Club, their menu is unmatched, but the experience is unlike any other. SupperClubBTR.com for your reservation. SupperClubBTR.com. SupperClubBTR.com for reservations today. All right, y'all. John Brady in 15 minutes. Talk a little LSU basketball. Look forward to having Coach. Cade Woods is on the bump for the Tigers here in the top of the 7th with 1 out. So Tigers are 2 outs away from run ruling Southern. It's 13-1. LSU is on top. So 2 outs away from a run rule. When it goes final, we'll certainly talk about it here. We'll grab a break. Stick around. It's AFR.
AFR.
Not too late to get by Clegg's Nursery, y'all. As I mentioned, we got the freeze coming. Look, we always get these freezing temps that come. A Thursday, tomorrow night, Wednesday, low of 32. Thursday and Friday, we're talking about lows of 27. So, look, we went through the snow just about a month ago, and if you experienced that and you saw a lot of your plants turn brown, you want to avoid that again. Listen, avoid the frost, avoid the frozen, freezing temps damage to your plants and your trees and your shrubs, your flowers. You can go buy Clegg's. They've got the freeze cloths and all the different things for your plants and that you need to protect your home and your outdoor spaces for these freezing temperatures that are coming later this week. So get on by any of the 4 Clegg's Nursery locations. Siegen Air Airline, LA 16 in Denham, Mid-City on Donmore, and the Garden Center on Greenwell Springs. Buy local, shop local for more than 60 years. Tell them Matt sent you in to Clegg's Nursery.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
There's never been a better time to catch a John Deere deal from the crew of Sunshine. Ask us about our low monthly payment options on our tractor packages and let the good times roll. With equipment strong enough to power one of the world's largest celebrations, we've got your needs covered too. Learn more about what it means to be powered by Sunshine at sunequip.com. Some restrictions apply. See dealer for details. Offer ends March 5th, 2025.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
Cade Woods gets a strikeout in the game, so LSU run rules Southern 13-1. Tigers moved to 4-0, and they'll play Nichols tomorrow down in Thibodaux. So we'll give you a full recap of the game coming up here. At the start of hour 3, we'll do a full recap. John Brady's coming up in about 10 minutes, so we got a lot that I want to get to. But a nice day for the Tigers is they got up early. A big 8 spot in the 4th is what really paced them. Another good day for the Tiger pitching, but we'll get to all the recap coming up here shortly. Something that we had on the docket a day ago that we didn't get to, Ross Dellinger had a report over at Yahoo that momentum is building for either a 14 or 16 team playoff starting in 2026. Here was the report from Delly, who visited with Feinbaum yesterday.
Everything lines up, Paul, to do all of this starting in 26, because that's the year, that's the new agreement with the CFP when the new 6-year extension starts, and when the SEC and Big Ten control the format, control the governance of the CFP. You know, they control all these decisions. So everything kind of lines up to start that year.
What's interesting that a lot of people may not know is that the 10 FBS leagues and the Notre Dame athletic director, they all signed a memorandum of understanding which handed control of the play over to the SEC and the Big Ten. So ultimately, the SEC and the Big Ten get to make the decision of what the postseason is going to look like for the rest of college football, starting in 2026. They can't do it in 25. In order to do it for 2025, they would have to have a unanimous vote from all of the participating conferences, which isn't going to happen. Like, for example, why would the Mountain West just saw Boise State earn a bye? Why would they seed that possibility a year early? They wouldn't. So the SEC and the Big Ten will do whatever they want to do starting in 2026, which is likely going to be either a 14 or a 16 team postseason. That's no surprise. We've all known that this is the direction it's heading. What is interesting is more about the format and what direction they may go, be it 14 or 16, and in particular the auto bids, whereas part of what is being discussed is the SEC and the Big Ten each would get 4 automatic bids. The ACC and the Big 12 each would get 2 automatic bids. So that would be 12 teams right there. And then you'd have either 2 or 4 at-large bids, depending on if you went to 14 or 16. And the SEC and Big Ten ceding that amount of control is what's getting a lot of the pushback so far.
You got 2 leagues that get 4 AQs each, and then 2 power leagues that get 2. And so I think there is a backlash, not only from the Big 12 and ACC. I think you see a lot of people around college football that don't necessarily like this idea. When you crunch the numbers, though, Paul, from the last 11 years or so, when you crunch the numbers of how many teams per conference are inside, say, the top 14 at the end of the year, you end up getting about that. The SEC and Big 10 average about 4 to 4.5 teams per year in the top 14. If you look at the last 11 years, I did some numbers crunching, and then the ACC and Big 12 both average about 2 each in the top 14. And in the G5, about once every 3 years, they'll have somebody in the top 14. In Notre Dame, it's once every other year.
Ross did put this graph out on social media if you want to check that out. So, like if there were a 16-team playoff, if you look back over the last decade, the Big 10 would have averaged 5.3, the SEC 5, Big 12 2.4, ACC 2.1, G5 and Notre Dame each fewer than 1. In a 14-team playoff, the numbers adjust accordingly. The Big 10 4.6, the SEC 4.7, the Big 12 2.1, the ACC 1.8. So it's basically what it averages out to. Whether you go to 14 or 16, and I want 16, by the way. Y'all know that. I'd take 32 today. Oh, you can't go to 30. Why not? And before anybody comes to me and says, well, look at the first round blowouts. Okay. Did you watch the Super Bowl this year? That was an ass whipping. Did you watch the NFC Championship game where the Philadelphia Eagles scored 55 in the Any Given Sunday League? Come on, man. There are blowouts at every level in every sport ever. It happens. Doesn't always live up to the billing. And sometimes you get great games and great performances. But you know what I want? I want it decided on the field. So go play games. I'll remind you, without an expanded playoff, the two teams that played for the national championship this year wouldn't have even been in the field. Ohio State and Notre Dame would not have even been in the field of 4. Your field of 4 would have been Oregon, Penn State on one half and Georgia, Texas on the other half. Those would have been your 4 teams. It would have been an all SEC Big Ten final. Anyway, y'all know where I stand. I'm a total college football elitist. I don't care about the little guy. I think the G5 should go play their own championship. They'll never do it because there's not as much money in it as there would be for them just scraping the morsels that fall from the jaws of the Power 4, really, of the SEC and the Big Ten. They'll take the crumbs that fall off the table, and that's more than trying to eat a hearty feast as a G5 standing on your own. I mean, like, do you want to sit out back of a 5-star restaurant and eat whatever piece of prime rib that gets thrown away? Or do you want to go, well, I don't want to name any restaurants. Or do you want Hamburger Helper? What's a better option? I don't know. Somebody's got like a 45-day dry-aged bone-in ribeye, and some of that gets thrown out back. Get 4 or 5 ounces of that. Give me that or Hamburger Helper. Yeah. Give me that half-eaten ribeye. I'm down for that. That's the G5's perspective, where I'm like, hey, man, be what you are. Go eat Hamburger Helper. I ate that a ton as a kid. I loved Hamburger Helper. It was great. The beefaroni was awesome. Did you ever have Hamburger Helper? Did y'all eat that as a kid? That was awesome. It's good. I loved it. Probably not the healthiest thing. Don't care. Served its purpose. It was a fun meal. Good meal. Loved it. Go eat your Hamburger Helper. G5. But they won't. They want their cake. They want to eat it too. Okay, that's the case. Then you're just going to sit over there and you're going to take whatever we give you. And as the SEC and the Big Ten have expanded, they hold all the cards because all of the appealing properties that the TV networks want reside in the leftovers could do collectively. So that's just what it's going to be. They ceded their power because they had to appease the SEC and the Big Ten. And you'll take what you get. And I hope they keep expanding the playoff too. Go. Give us me. We're moving. This is a good thing because we are moving toward meaningful football games every weekend. We're moving toward a reality where you never have to see LSU play Dump Truck State U again. Like you never have to play Grambling or Nichols or Southern or Southeastern or North Texas or any of these crap games that nobody wants to see, that they shove on the schedule to guarantee a win, to satisfy contract bonuses, and to get a gate receipt. Play games everybody wants to see. Play 10 great regular season games and have a legitimate postseason like every other sport in the history of mankind. We're getting there. Now, I've been yelling about it for decades. For as long as I've sat in this chair, I've been yelling about it. And we're getting there. And it's exciting. I'm just going to keep yelling about it. All right. It's After Further Review. Tuesday show is powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. Some Evermore. Drink your Evermore, y'all. Great local retailers. Find the retailer nearest you. Go to evamore.com. EVAMOR, evamore.com. And if you've tried Evermore, take a picture, tweet it, Instagram, Facebook, share it on social, send it to me on my text line. The folks over at Evermore love seeing that. So I appreciate everyone who has bought it, tried it, loved it, and shared it as well. EVAMOR, a great Louisiana product, a healthier form of hydration, a healthier option for your family. It's Evermore. Drink Evermore. EVAMOR, evamore.com. All right, it's After Further Review. We'll knock out a quick break. We'll come back. John Brady will be here with us. Tiger basketball looks to make it 2 in a row as they host South Carolina tonight. That is largely inconsequential. However, the future of the program is very interesting. And I want to ask Coach Brady about that as a guy who sat on that sideline to talk about what this program needs resource-wise to drive forward. So we'll get to that with John Brady next on AFR.
AFR.
I can tell you right now, if you're looking for Evermore, you can find it at Rouse's. You can find it at every Rouse's location. So drink Evermore, you can find it at Rouse's, along with millions of other amazing products. And one of the things I love about Rouse's is every opportunity they get to source locally, they do. Whether it's their seafood, their Rouse's branded products, every time they can source locally with Louisiana farmers, Louisiana products, Louisiana fishermen, they do it. It's Rouse's. Rouse's, the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints. 2 things to remind you about. Number 1, king cakes. Carnival's right around the bend, y'all. Take advantage of it while you still can. You want to get a delicious Rouse's king cake? You can do it at any Rouse's location, and you can ship that Rouse's king cake anywhere in the Continental 48. Just go to rouses.com. You'll see it right there on the homepage. Pick the king cake you want, where you want to ship it. Send a little taste of Carnival to anyone in the Continental 48. It's Rouse's. And remember, they got Rouse's crawfish as well. Rouse's, this feels like home.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
There's never been a better time to catch a John Deere deal from the crew of Sunshine. Ask us about our low monthly payment options on our tractor packages and let the good times roll. With equipment strong enough to power one of the world's largest celebrations, we've got your needs covered too. Learn more about what it means to be powered by Sunshine at sunequip.com. Some restrictions apply. See dealer for details. Offer ends March 5th, 2025.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. service Chevrolet Cadillac. Our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood Subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
I think you hope there's confidence and belief that comes from it. When you stay the course, obviously it's been very challenging. Some tough losses, string together some losses. How do you respond? How do you handle that? And then to be in a late game situation where the execution by our players was just elite. I hope gets them confidence as we go into the final third of conference play.
Matt McMahon, Tigers try to make it 2 in a row if they can get it done tonight on their home floor against South Carolina. John Brady will be there on the call with Chris Blair on the LSU Sports Radio Network. Coach, always our pleasure. How are you?
I'm good, Matt. Good.
I know when Matt McMahon was in year one, I asked you this question because you inherited a similar situation, just tough circumstances, and you went through a tough losing streak. When you finally end that losing streak and get a win, how could you describe what that feels like for guys that keep coming to the gym every single day, but you go nearly 2 months without getting a taste of win?
Well, I think the most important thing of any situation is how the players feel. Regardless of how the coaches feel or the fans feel, it's all about the players. And it's great to see them come through and win the game and make the plays that are necessary to win the game. And that's the major concern about Coach McMahon and his staff. I would assume is how the players feel and their psyche and their mentality and their approach and their confidence level and their belief in each other and even their belief in the coaching staff and what they're telling them. And there's no better thing to reinforce those type of feelings and those type of situations and confidence in one another than getting a win. And there's nothing like winning on the road. So it was a great win for a team that needed a win, and you couldn't set it up any better for playing a team coming in here tonight that hadn't won a game at all in the league. So it's a nice follow-up to be able to put back-to-back wins together.
We all know the gauntlet that's coming after this one, but what about South Carolina, if they do present a challenge, Coach, would you say is something to keep an eye on tonight?
Well, I think the thing I see about South Carolina when I look at them, their stats aren't very good at any level. And ours kind of struggle themselves a little bit. But I think the coach in South Carolina has his team still competing. And if you really look at their scores and their schedule, there's 4 or 5 games they could have won, and they hadn't been able to close them out. And I think when you get yourself in a situation where you're continuing to lose and have heartbreaking losses and can't hold a lead or somehow it gets away from you in the last 3 to 5 minutes, you don't know if you can ever win one. So I think advantage LSU, 2 things. We just won a close game on the road. We're playing at home against a team that hadn't won a game and really hadn't experienced the feeling of winning in 11 straight games. So I think that's the biggest thing I see, the advantage that we have from a mental approach and a feel-good situation more so than the Carolina team coming in here tonight.
Corey Chest, Matt McMahon said, is probable in this ball game tonight. I mean, it would say it'd be stupid to say, well, how big of a deal is that? I mean, it's obviously a big deal. But where specifically in this matchup do you think, if you have Corey Chest available at whatever percentage for however long, it would benefit LSU tonight?
Well, I think you look at our 2 SEC wins. That's what I'd go back to. Cam Carter had 29 and 28. 27. So I think he needs to play well. And when Cam Carter plays well, we don't have lulls in scoring because he makes a basket from time to time. And there have been some games when teams have really totally taken him out and made it difficult for him to score that we'll go 3 and 4 minutes without a basket. And we didn't have much of that on the road the other day, and one of the reasons was Cam Carter gets 29 and plays a terrific game. So my biggest concern is, can we get Cam involved tonight and keep him involved for 40 minutes?
John Brady is with us. He'll be on the call tonight on the LSU Sports Radio Network along with Chris Blair. Of course, you'll hear that game on our sister station in Baton Rouge, Eagle 98.1. Coach, I also would love your perspective because you get to go around you look through a different lens, having coached in this league for a decade and now getting to go around the league that you coached in and watch it closely, but not from the bench. When you look at LSU and where they stand and how they compete and the resources and all, and what it was like when you were here and what it's like now, if you had to gauge where LSU is in this conference with commitment level, all-in sort of thing, like how do you make sense of that when you get to see the league on a night-in, night-out basis?
Well, that's a tough one there now. I don't know how honest you want me to be, but here's the thing. I don't want the narrative to get out there because we don't have enough money, we can't win, and we can't be competitive. That seems to be what's flying around out there now. Well, we just don't have enough money. Well, that being said, can we use our money more wisely and get better players and evaluate better and be more competitive? Maybe. But I go back to this, too. Sometimes it's all about personnel and people. Dale Brown went to 2 Final Fours practicing in the dungeon. We did the same thing. Our locker room was very, very average. We didn't have what everybody else had back then. So I don't know. I think it's all about people, personnel, and how they fit. I don't think LSU has ever been top of the facilities in the SEC, money-wise. We used to bus to Starkville and play games. We didn't charter like they do now, and we were still able to have some respectful teams that won the league a couple of times. So it's hard to put a finger on that, Matt, but I don't believe LSU is if you're talking about NIL money, which that's what everybody talks about now, I don't know for sure what other teams have, and I don't know if anybody else knows for sure because it's not published. People say, well, this guy told me this, or I've got a friend that works in their athletic department, and they told me this, but you don't really know.
Sure.
Now, but the consensus is LSU's NIL money is not where it needs to be to play in the top 3 or 4. But I just hope that we don't use the excuse because we don't have enough money that we can't be more competitive. So that's something to talk about and throw around. But even with LSU's got to split $20 million next year between several sports. Mm-hmm. Now, how they do that, I don't know if the AD makes that decision or who makes that decision, but that's another discussion. And if they're going to keep the NIL with the revenue sharing, we're still going to be behind the 8 ball. I mean, if let's say we're $3 million behind the top team in the league with NIL money, and they keep their NIL, and Auburn splits $22 million or $20 million, whatever it is, we're still going to be kind of in the same boat. But we will have more money, I guess, for us to go out and get better players. And I really hate even talking about this, that's what it's come down to, the money we pay to get better players. It's really something I'm not built around. I thought college sports and the experience you have at a school is more than that. But that's where we are, and that's a sign of the times. I'm not a proponent of it. I'm not into it 100%. But I do understand it, and so hopefully we can get our NIL up from, if it's $2 million, to get it to $4 million or 4.2, whatever they're talking about, and put a better product on the floor.
Yeah, and Coach, I know you and I have had that conversation in many different platforms over the years, and it's we disagree, and that's okay. I think there can be disagreement, but I think the point you made there is, regardless of how you or I or anybody feels, the reality is what it is. But I want to ask you, like, away from NIL, I do think the facility question is an interesting one. Like, I mean, Auburn Arena is brand new. Ole Miss has a new arena. And, Coach, I understand it that LSU is going to announce here shortly, maybe in a month or two here, plans for a new arena, that it's going to come. I don't know if you've heard the same. I'm sure we probably talked to a lot of the same people. I'm asking you from a coach's perspective, how big of a deal would that be for you if you had a new arena as opposed to the PMAC, which is, 50 years old now?
Well, how old is Humphrey Coliseum at Mississippi State? How old is Coleman Coliseum at
old.
Alabama? How old is? I mean, you can go through it. You can check it. How old is Florida? What the building they play in? O'Connell Center. How old is that thing? I mean, come on now. I think. Look, if you want me to be completely honest, I don't think that arms race is as prevalent as it was when I was coaching.
Okay.
I don't think that's an issue now. I think if you don't have the money for a lot of things, I would, as a coach in this league, and the ones that I've talked to personally, I was at an Alabama meeting before our game with a couple of my Alabama buddies to hear Nate Oates and Byrne talk to a collection of heavy donors at Alabama. Byrne is talking about they're building a new practice facility at Alabama. I got that, with offices and up-to-date locker rooms and that sort of thing. I get that. But Byrne is talking about building a new arena, and Nate Oates got it behind him and says, I appreciate that, but what I need more is to stay competitive at the level we are now is the NIL money I'm getting. And if we can't do both, I would rather have NIL money. So I think that's my answer in a nutshell based on what the coaches think. Now, if you can build a new arena and still give me $5 or $6 million for NIL money, let's go do it all.
Okay.
But if I'm in one boat or the other, as a coach, I would rather have the money competitive with the top 4 or 5 teams in the league than to have a new arena.
John Brady, and I appreciate the can. I mean, that's a perspective that all of us don't have. I mean, you coach in this league for a decade. It's fascinating to hear because LSU does feel, Coach, like it's at this pivotal point where you realize you got to decide what type of resources are you going to commit to being great in basketball like you are in other sports. But they got an opportunity tonight to get another one on the board, and here's hoping they can get it.
Can I share something else with you?
Absolutely.
And let me tell you something. A week ago, after the Ole Miss game and the Texas game, I told Matt McMahon this, and I don't ever offer anything to Will Wade or Matt unless I'm asked. I stay in my lane, and that's. But I did tell him this. I never thought that they were going to let Matt McMahon go after this year. I never even crossed my mind. I never heard it from anybody that counted. I never heard it from anybody that made those kind of decisions. What I hoped and what they did was they finally came out and said, this is our coach next year, and he's going to be here. I thought it should have happened 2 weeks ago or 10 days ago to stop the noise, because I'm for coaches. Stop the noise, stop the speculation, stop the rumor and innuendo. None of that is good for the program, Matt. None of it's good for the coaches, players, and especially it's not good in recruiting when you're trying to go out and bring somebody here. And if people don't think they use that against LSU, that the program is unsettling, they don't even know who their coach is going to be, they're going to fire the guy, you're kidding yourself. So my appeal is let the negativity go. Matt McMahon's a coach in his basketball program next year. Get behind it, be positive, and help him get better players so we can all enjoy watching the team play and have a good time. So I'm glad they did what they did. I wish they'd have done it earlier.
Well said. Coach, I think the way I've said it is I don't know if Matt McMahon can win a championship at LSU. I don't know. But I also don't know that he can't. And until they give him a loaded deck to say, hey, go compete with the top of this league, I'm with you. I mean, what are we doing shrouding the program in negativity right now?
You're not helping any situation. Whether you agree with Matt McMahon or not as the coach, you're certainly not helping it in any way, shape, or form by innuendo, rumor, and negativity. And I'm glad LSU said he's our coach next year. We're going to try to help him get in a better situation.
Well said. Coach, I always appreciate your candor. You know that. And you're welcome to say whatever you want here anytime you want. You've always been so generous with your time. No, I'm being serious. I mean, ever since I started doing this when you were coaching. So, I mean, I've always appreciated you. So anytime we get a few minutes with you, I'm very, very grateful.
Well, thank you, Matt. I appreciate it.
All right, Coach. All the best. We'll talk soon.
All right.
All righty. That is John Brady. It's after further review. John and Chris will be on the call tonight for LSU in South Carolina. Man, I would love it for these guys to go get another win. I mean, it sucks. I mean, when you are losing every single time out, it sucks. as much as it sucks for the fans, like, you can disengage. Those guys have to get up and go to practice and play games. Like, we just love to see them have success. So see if they go get another one tonight. All right, Tigers and the Pros next.
After further review.
We're brought to you by Action Industries, actionindinc.com. It's Action Industries Incorporated, proud partner of LSU Athletics. Baseball at the boxes return. Remember, every mound visit all season long. Leave them in, take them out. Whoop, woo. Brought to you by Action Industries. Of course, over at Action Industries, they've also got the Advanced Turnaround Group. Now, you know Action Industries. They've been a commercial contractor for 43 years now, since 1982. But they also have the Advanced Turnaround Group. The Advanced Turnaround Group is their turnaround division. It is a completely separate pool of resources with people committed to turnaround work exclusively. They're not pulling resources from other divisions and throwing them in turnaround situations. This is specifically designed for turnaround work. It's the Advanced Turnaround Group at Action Industries. You can learn more online. Of course, check them out, all the things that they do. It's Action Industries, proud partner of LSU Athletics.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac, our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
There's never been a better time to catch a John Deere deal from the crew of Sunshine. Ask us about our low monthly payment options on our tractor packages, and let
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
All right, wrapping up hour number 2. Thanks to John Brady for a couple of minutes there. Always candid, always insightful. Dude knows a lot and looks at it through a different prism. Appreciate Coach Brady. All right, Muso, Tigers in the Pros.
Tigers in the Pros. They still bleed purple and gold. They're just really rich now.
All right, so we kind of talked about it earlier in the Saints lens, franchise tag, that window opens. There's also plenty of free agency going around now in the NFL. There are 12 former Tigers up for free agency in the NFL that we'll be tracking here over the offseason. Maybe some up for the franchise tag. We'll wait and see. Quan Alexander, Chason, DJ Chark, Reed Ferguson, Christian Fulton, Dante Jackson. How about that? Terrace Marshall Jr. already up for free agency. Jalen Mills, Duke Riley, and, of course, Devin White, Trey White, and Cade Yorks. We'll keep you up to date on all of those guys. Those are the 12s. One that we know who's definitely up for a new contract is Jamar Chase. The Bengals looking to get that done. Report from Jeremy Fowler over at ESPN is that it's likely going to take $40 million per year in new money average for Chase to be back with Cincinnati. Wanting to keep two other players as well. We'll see how they can make it work. You know Joe wants it. We'll keep you up to date. That's Tigers and Pros.
Presented by Relief Windows, reliefwindows.com. Energy-efficient replacement windows, beautiful entry doors, hardy plank vinyl siding. They do it all, do it better than anyone over at Relief Windows. And when you hire Relief Windows, remember, you're doing it once. If someone sells you windows at a 10, 12, 15% discount, ask yourself why. Why are they selling you a cheaper product? Well, do they have a lifetime transferable, a true lifetime warranty? Do they give you service after the sale? Or you have issues in 3 years, they're not going to be heard from again. At Relief Windows, you never have to question that. Excellent customer service and a true lifetime transferable warranty. It's Relief Windows and reliefwindows.com. All right, 2 hours in the books, y'all. Hour number 3, staring us straight in the face, courtesy of Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. LSU beats Southern 13-1 out at the box in a little matinee. Sports Center, when we come back, I'll give you my takeaways from the Tigers moving to 4-0. Lot to do. Hour 3 is next.
After further review.
Need service now? Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram can get you same-day appointments for service, and we offer pickup and delivery of your vehicle from New Orleans to Baton Rouge. If you need sales and service, the crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared towards seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac, our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
When it comes to choosing energy for your family and your home, make the smart choice with natural gas. You can count on efficient and affordable natural gas to keep you comfortable and reduce your environmental impact to help protect our planet. Together, we're fueling our energy future. Atmos Energy.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. The NFL franchise tag window is open among players likely tagged ahead of the deadline on March 4th. Bengals receiver T. Higgins for a second straight year. This offseason, Cincinnati will try to lock up Higgins, receiver Jamar Chase, and defensive end Trey Hendrickson long term. This is Football Podcast host Kevin Clark.
My order of operations would be Chase first, second best player on the team, then try to figure out something with T. Higgins, and then look at Hendrickson. You do one thing great, and that's offense.
Yeah.
And you have to figure out the defense. You have to figure out the entire roster. I would figure out a way to keep those receivers together and then get Trey Hendrickson done.
Kevin Clark on Unsportsmanlike. Former Stanford coach David Shaw, the latest addition to the Lions' 2025 coaching staff. He is Detroit's passing game coordinator under new offensive coordinator John Morton. On the ice, Team USA will be without defenseman Charlie McAvoy in the Four Nations Face-Off Championship game Thursday night against Canada, 8 Eastern on ESPN. He's sidelined by an upper body injury. Vancouver's Quinn Hughes will replace him on the Americans roster.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. At Progressive, they're making things even easier. They'll help you bundle your home and car insurance together so you can save on both. Learn more at progressive.com or 1-800-PROGRESSIVE.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio.
That's right. Go!
Hour 3, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. Matt.
This is Shaq O'Neal, and I hate Matt.
Paul O'Neal.
They're chanting Paul O'Neal's name.
Musso. And Mr. Toby Tom Play. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. 5 o'clock, quitting time. Glad you are driving home with us. Thanks to Shea Dixon, who was here in hour number 1. John Brady was here last hour, and still a lot to do with our final hour staring you straight in the face as we get you home. Tiger baseball played a little matinee. LSU beats Southern out at the box 13-1. A game that wasn't really close. A game that saw Connor Ware and Zach Cohen make their debuts. Cade Woods pitched the seventh in his debut, as this was just a 7-inning game. LSU run rules Southern 13-1. It was a game that LSU scored 2 in the first. They blew it open with an 8-run fourth, highlighted by Ethan Fry's first career home run, a monster shot to left. Speaking of monster, Stephen Milam, who had a rough opening weekend, bounced back with a couple of ringing base knocks in this one, including you have a triple. One was a triple, right? Had a triple in this ball game as well. So Tigers hit early and often, no errors, so they played solid defense. Another really strong pitching performance combined by LSU's 3 pitchers for 7 strikeouts, just 1 walk. That was courtesy of Zach Cohen, who, boy, he's a problem. You could see why he's tough for hitters. He's tough to square up because very seldom is a pitch and where it starts with Zach Cohen. So a lot of encouraging stuff out there, but mostly for LSU, another opportunity to get out there. And remember, they'll play on Wednesday at Nichols. So you're talking about 5 games in 6 days. It's a lot of baseball, a lot of innings that you got to eat up. And so certainly for your pitching as well, you'd love to get all these guys work, but to not have to go throw 2 more innings today, probably a little bit of a help. Jay Johnson, after the game, talked about Connor Ware, who gave you 3 innings and was really good. He struck out 2, he walked 1, and faced just 10 hitters in his 3 innings, so just 1 over the minimum. It was the 1 walk that he gave up. But here was Jay Johnson on the JUCO lefty.
You know, just kind of guy you knew would be a difference maker in recruiting, and then we had to kind of fight off the draft to get him here, and very thankful that he decided that this is what he wanted to do and needed to do, and I think you got a glimpse of today of my excitement in talking about him, you know, for the last several months.
Connor Ware's a guy who at 6'4", 220 from the left side, sat low mid-90s, showed a really nice mix, and look, he's just a little bit of a different quality than what Southern's hitters are used to facing. And so that's a weekend SEC arm that was throwing a Tuesday afternoon game against a really overmatched offense. But Ware was really good. He did work behind a couple of times in counts, but was quite good. He did have a strikeout in the 3rd inning where he started the hitter 3-0, came back to get the strikeout. So a lot of positives there. Mentioned Ethan Fry as well with a 3-run homer, the first home run of his career. Ethan Fry got the start DHing. It was Pearson who started in right field for LSU in this ballgame. Jake Brown did enter as a defensive replacement later. You know, Fry is a guy who a year ago Jake kept trying to get him at bats, and obviously battled some injury, but just could not hit SEC pitching a year ago. I don't know that a 3-hit day against Southern fixes that, but it was certainly encouraging to see. Here was Jay on Ethan Fry.
I mean, I view him as a starting player. Mm-hmm. You know, we have some good competition with the outfield and DH for bats and playing time, but the story is how all those guys are dealing with it in a mature manner. And you see he was ready to play today. Ashton was ready to play the other day. Josh Pearson's been ready to play. Jake Brown's been ready to play. And they're all getting time. And, my goal is, it's like 4 or 5 guys for 2 spots in the order. And, can we use all their talent and make them like 2 All-American caliber players by using all their skills? And, it's early and we haven't been tested a lot, but so far so good with that roadmap.
That's true. What happens if and when you start to pare down that rotation and how freely you use guys when you're in tighter ball games, you're not going to see as much rotation clearly, but guys like Jake Brown and Ashton Larson are accustomed to being starters, and Josh Pearson, they can't all be out there. So how's that going to look? Who's going to win jobs? Ultimately, the cream rises, right? The competition ratchets. We see it every year. The competition ratchets up. Some guys invariably struggle or scuffle. It opens the door for someone else to get an opportunity who makes the most of it. So who is that? How does that happen? I don't know. I tell you, Michael Braswell also made a beautiful play at third base today. And if you're wondering about that transition, I mean, so far, awesome. I mean, Milam clearly is athletic enough to play short, and Braswell had an awesome play at third today. So the one spot defensively where I'm still a little iffy is catcher. The 1 run that Southern scored today was they ruled it a wild pitch, but it was a ball that Priester allowed to get through the wickets and probably should have dropped down and blocked it up. Instead, tried to stab at it, went between his legs, and that's how the lone run scored. So it's the one spot where defensively you still got a bit of a question, but we'll work through that and see how it all goes. So the Tigers will play back-to-back after winning today 13-1 against Southern. They're on the road for the first true road game of the season. They'll play at Nichols tomorrow night. That's a 6:30 first pitch down in Thibodaux. Here was Jay on Hitting the Road on Wednesday.
I think it's good. It'll be a different test. It's going to be cold. It'll be a sold-out crowd. Kind of one of my rules on the road is you got to be able to win by 3 just because the crowd and the atmosphere. You're at your routine and umpiring sometimes. And, so we'll be ready to go. I think these guys are probably chomping at the bit for a little bit more difficult challenge, and I think that will definitely present itself tomorrow just with being on the road and getting on a bus and getting off a bus and not having it, be totally cozy and comfortable and all those things. So looking forward to the game tomorrow night.
So 2 things. Number 1, it is going to rain tonight. Rain is in the forecast starting about 9 o'clock this evening and going all the way through the early morning hours. Looks like it should stop somewhere around 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning. And then the temperatures are expected to plummet. We're looking at temps tomorrow around first pitch in the mid-40s. And the low Wednesday night is 32. So it's going to be cold for that game at Nichols. That's number 1. You're going to have to battle that element. Number 2, I love these types of situations. I love leaving the box. We talk about it every year, so this isn't anything new that I'm saying that you've never heard me say before. But I am always in favor of getting on a bus, going somewhere else, sitting in someone else's dugout, looking at someone else's batter's eye, having someone else's fans yell at you, feeling something, experience something different than what you experience all the time. Every day when LSU goes to the yard to practice, to hit BP, for games, from fall and spring and everything, it's always at Alec Box. They know what it's like to sit in the first base dugout. They know what it's like to go hit in their batting cages. They know what it's like to stand at the plate at the box and look at the batter's eye. When you make yourself experience something different, how do you react? Well, you got to do that 15 times in conference play. So you might as well go feel what that's like now when it's 40 degrees and you got to go down to Thibodaux and play at a smaller park and a bunch of people are going to be cheering against you. So I love when they do this. I love that they're going to Frisco and Arlington next weekend. Two weekends, not this weekend, but next. Go experience something different. Go challenge yourself in a different way. So we'll see how they react. Tigers should be fine. The one guy who we haven't seen pitch yet is Gavin Guidry. I'm going to assume, and you know what happens when you assume, but I'm going to assume that Gavin Guidry is going to start tomorrow. May not, don't know, but we know they've worked on that and talked about the possibility of Gavin Guidry having some type of a role as a starter. We know he can be a great closer. He's been that for 2 years. I'm going to assume that he starts tomorrow. And they probably let him extend the way they let Connor Ware extend today, see if you can get him 3 innings and hand it off to the next guy. You got a bunch of dudes that what did Jacob Myers call him yesterday? 1-inning assassins. Maybe you just hand it off to a revolving door, the turnstile of 1-inning assassins to get you through the rest of the game and keep everybody fresh for this weekend when Omaha comes to the box for a Friday, Saturday, Sunday series. All right, it's After Further Review. We're brought to you by Parish Restoration. Go to parishrestoration.com. New website that they've built and launched, parishrestoration.com. That's parishrestoration.com. Kill mold, remove odor. If you have mold, think you might, our friends over at Parish Restoration can help. Just go to parishrestoration.com. Fill out the form on the homepage. You can learn about all the different services that they offer at Parish Restoration, how they can spray that patented non-toxic dry fog, kill mold, remove odor. Go to parishrestoration.com. Maybe flu's going around the school, the office. They come in, spray, sanitize that space, boom, in, out, easy. Parish Restoration. Go to parishrestoration.com. Do business with someone you know. parishrestoration.com. All right, y'all, glad you're hanging out with us here. Still a lot I want to get to. We will give you a thumbnail preview of LSU South Carolina from the PMAC tonight, 8 o'clock tip. When we come back, though, PFF's got a mock draft out. Blake Baker did an interview with Julie Boudouin over at On3, said some interesting things, confirmed some things that we've reported for a while here, but still, to have Blake Baker say it on the record is good. So we'll get some of that as well as we roll along here on a Tuesday edition of AFR.
AFR.
Boy, when you talk about how many different great businesses have been so good to Tiger Athletics through NIL and different initiatives, any bigger than Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys? I mean, really, when NIL started and LSU was slow to the game, the guy who said, you know what, I'll go do the darn thing myself, was Gordon. He has supported Tiger Athletics, not only men's sports, women's sports, and not just LSU sports as well. Athletes all over the state of Louisiana through great NIL initiatives, what he calls the G Team. But that's only part of Gordon's philanthropy and giving opportunities to young people. Of course, every year he gives away the laptops around school time. Every year gives away bikes around Christmas time. Gordon and his team make it such a point to give back to the communities they serve. That's why one of the many reasons why I'm always proud to endorse Gordon McKernan Injury Attorney. So, you've been injured in an accident, you need representation, go to getgordon.com. Get Gordon and get it done.
At Atmos Energy, our smart choice solutions help customers save energy and emissions with rebates up to $500 off high-efficiency natural gas appliances, smart thermostats, and weatherization upgrades. Together, we're fueling our energy future.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
There's never been a better time to catch a John Deere deal from the crew of Sunshine. Ask us about our low monthly payment options on our tractor packages and let the good times roll. With equipment strong enough to power one of the world's largest celebrations, we've got your needs covered too. Learn more about what it means to be powered by Sunshine at sunequip.com. Some restrictions apply. See dealer for details. Offer ends March 5th, 2025.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
She's even kind of crazy about my farmer's tan.
She don't let me down me. Go get you a tractor. Or a gator or a zero-turn mower. Lots of great stuff. Whatever you do, make sure it's a Deere. SunnyQuip.com. SunnyQuip.com. Who sings that song, Muse? I don't think I've ever heard that before.
That's Kenny Chesney, Matt.
Never heard of him.
Pretty well-known country artist. Yeah.
I'm sure he is, Muse. We can ask our friends at 100.7 The Tiger. I'm sure they know all about him.
Bet you they do, yeah. Probably know him. Yeah, probably know him. Probably met him.
Okay, that I could probably get down.
Right.
Maybe
better.
met somewhere.
That's better.
Yeah, probably
Right.
somewhere along the way. Brittany Rose and Alondra, they go up to the CMAs every year. Probably at some point. I'm trying to think of seeing any of their interviews over the years with, if one of them were with him. I just don't remember. Do a lot of interviews in those settings.
You do.
Do a lot of interviews when you're getting ready for draft prep as well.
True story.
How about that transition? #radio guy. PFF put out their updated mock draft. Travis Hunter, Colorado, #1 of the Titans. Interesting that he's going to work out as a cornerback. Officially listed as a cornerback. See if whoever drafts him plays him both ways, wherever they may. Abdul Carter, #2 to the Browns. Shadur, #3 to the Giants. And then how about Will Campbell? #4 to the New England Patriots. Starting to see that more and more and more. I'm just going to be so interested as this plays out to see if some of those questions about Campbell materialize. And the questions, really it's questions singular. And I have no doubt, just having covered this draft process for so long, that there are going to be teams that will drop Will Campbell on their board because of the arm length thing. If you're not familiar, and I'll hat tip Shea Dixon, who's here now #1. I told you, like during the fall, when Shea and I did Sports Takeover with Michael Cobble over at WBRZ every Tuesday, one week I was talking to Shea, and we were talking about Jim Nagy with Senior Bowl. It was some reason we brought it. Anyway, and Shea mentioned to me, the scuttle about Campbell is his arm length might keep him from being a tackle in the NFL. I'm like, what are you talking about? I mean, the guy's been a 3-year starter at left tackle in the best conference in the country, and he's given up like 2 sacks in 3 years. And the thing is, like Will Campbell's arm length, if he were, he would be like, he'd have the shortest arm of a left tackle to go in the first round and like whatever. Something ridiculous like that. So there's some scouts that wonder, are Will Campbell's arms too short to be an NFL tackle? Does he have to play guard? I get it, as stupid as it sounds. So it's interesting to me. So here's Pro Football Focus, who relies heavily on metrics and grades and form, right? And they've got him projected 4th to New England. They note that his pass blocking efficiency grade over 3 seasons at LSU, 98.2. His pass blocking efficiency graded out of 98.2 over 3 years. And we're questioning if his arm, I remember whenever, remember Dwight Freeney, man. Dwight Freeney coming out of Syracuse, where he was just a terror off the edge. And he goes to the combine, and there's all these questions like, is Dwight Freeney too short? Can he play on the edge in the NFL? And he goes on to be a friggin' Hall of Famer. But there were teams questioning if Dwight Freeney had the measurables to be an edge in the NFL. It's just, you can outthink the room sometimes. This would be a very Raiders pick. They have the Raiders taking Ashton Genty, #6 overall. Our guy, Ross Jackson, over at LouisianaSports.net did a mock draft here recently where he had the Saints taking Ashton Genty at 9. And he also listed Jalen Milroe as a quarterback the Saints should look at as a day 2 possibility. And I very promptly texted Ross. And I said, Ross, I order you to stop writing this and putting this out in the universe. You will not put this out of the ether. Or are you just trolling me? Ashton Genty may up being a really good pick. It's so hard to justify seeing a running back at #6 overall or 9 overall or anywhere near the top. It's not to say that Ashton Genty is a bad player, won't be a good player. I think he will. And you could look at Saquon Barkley and say, well, look at what Saquon meant to the Eagles, and that's amazing. But that was a career year for Saquon. While he's a very good running back, look at what he was in New York. He was still a very good running back on a bad team. What does that get you? Hard to justify. This I could get down with. Pro Football Focus projects New Orleans at 9 to take James Pierce, the edge out of Tennessee. James Pierce at one point before the season was like the projected #1 overall prospect in this draft. He is a legit elite edge player. The Saints were 23rd this year in their pass rush grade. They Cam Jordan's old. Carl Granderson didn't live up to the contract this year. And Chase Young's a free agent. So if the Saints do end up going edge, I'd be all in on that at 9. I think at 9, you have so many needs on this team that I would be okay with darn near anything they did at 9. I mean, just whoever you have graded as the highest rated player on your board when you pick at 9, as long as it's not Ashton Genty, I'm going to be good with it. And as long as it's not an FCS defensive end that had a relative athletic score that's really high. So they're like, we're going to take him. As long as they don't do that, I'm going to be good. It'll also be interesting, I think, to see if with an offensive-minded coach, do you lean offense at the top of this draft. Now, it's worth mentioning, last year you took a left tackle in round 1. So not the year before, you took Brian Brzee, so you took an interior defensive lineman. But before that, you took Olave and Penning, 2 offensive players, when you had a defensive-minded head coach. So it's not to say that there's any correlation that we've seen, and I don't know what Kellen Moore will do, but it will be interesting to see, does Kellen Moore in his first year lean more offense as an offensive-minded guy? All right, it's after further review. I want to get to Blake Baker talked to Julie Boudouin over at On 3 and confirmed Harold Perkins' position. So we'll get to that here in just a second. Remember, Friday is the day. Friday is the day. Friday is the day. Friday is the day. Friday at Parrish Construction and Roofing, we're giving away $5,000 this Friday on AFR. It's easy. All you got to do is sign up for a free, no-obligation roofing inspection. Super easy. Go to the website, parishbuilt.com, parishbuilt.com, parishbuilt.com. Sign up for a free, no-obligation roofing inspection. Again, free, no obligation. And follow us on social. You're entered. We'll take all the names, put them in the hopper. We'll draw on Friday here on AFR. Someone's winning $5,000. Cash. That easy. Terrio will come to your house with a duffel bag if you want. 1s, 20s, 100s, whatever you want. Stacks on deck, Patron on ice. You pick. I don't care. Parishbuilt.com, parishbuilt.com. Do business with someone you know. We'd love to help you. If you have roof issues, think you might, we can help. Parrish Construction and Roofing. And this Friday, we're giving away $5,000 cash. If you want to win, go to the website, get all the details. Go to parishbuilt.com, parishbuilt.com. We got all the info right there on the homepage and how you can win $5,000 cash, courtesy of Parrish Construction Roofing. Go to parishbuilt.com. Julie Boudouin from On 3 spoke with Blake Baker, and Blake Baker did, in fact, confirm to Julie what we told you the day Harold Perkins announced he was coming back, that Harold Perkins is going to play the star position. That's what I was told back when Harold announced that he was returning. Initially there were 3 players at LSU thought they had a shot of getting back. It was Mason Taylor and Emory Jones and Harold Perkins.
Mason Taylor!
And ultimately Taylor and Jones went pro, and they got Perkins to return. And at the time they made that announcement, and they took care of Harold from an NIL perspective, and he's coming off injury. The decision that they made collectively was that he was going to come back and play the star position, and it's 100% the right thing to do. We have seen the last 2 years, and I commend Harold for this as well, because he had a dynamic freshman year where we saw him explode in the second half of the season. He took over the Ole Miss game. He changed the Ole Miss game. He took over the Arkansas game. I mean, even in that game in 2021, as a spy on Bryce Young, he was sensational, and we saw what he could be in space. And Harold wanted to move inside to prove he could be an every down linebacker, a 3-down linebacker for the NFL on the inside. And I can respect wanting to try that. I can respect wanting to do that, and I can respect LSU giving him an opportunity to be that. But that's not what he is. And they tried it again last year, and it didn't work. And unfortunately, he got injured, as we all know the story. But good on Harold to be self-aware enough to know, come back to school, lean into your elite skill set, a guy who, at that size, not only can rush the passer, but can also turn and run and cover. Remember, the Missouri game in Como in 2023 changed. LSU couldn't get a stop. It changed when late in the first half, Harold Perkins got an interception, dropping into coverage. When you can drop into coverage, you can also defend the run on the edge and in space, and you can rush the passer. You are a queen piece on the chessboard, and you need to be used as such. You could do that in the star position in this defense. So go be that. Blake Baker's right to have Perkins in that role, but Harold had to be willing to do that. And apparently he isn't good on him. It's going to make LSU better. Harold Perkins at star is a dramatic upgrade over Major Burns at star this past year. So let Harold have a full offseason, getting his body right and training to play that position that he is going to be best at, best suited for, and go have an awesome senior year and go be the first-round pick that many know he can be, has the physical ability to be. All right, hat tip to Julie, getting the one-on-one with Blake Baker. All right, it's after further review. Glad you're aboard with us here. Tuesday show is powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. In 15 minutes, we'll get to Otterlock, see what Jimmy's got us betting on here tonight. When we come back, LSU, South Carolina hoops out at the Maravich Center tonight. We'll give you a thumbnail preview of that game. And if you want to get any questions or comments in, you can. Email us, tweet us, text us in the 225-396-4400, 396-4400, 396-4400. Lots of ways you get involved in the show. You can jump in the Bayou Ford YouTube chat as well. Stick around. It's AFR.
AFR.
I'm going to tell you there is no better hotel in Baton Rouge than the Watermark downtown. Period, paragraph. The Watermark is Baton Rouge's premier hotel property. It's part of the Autograph collection. You got to see it if you haven't before. It's Baton Rouge's original high-rise building downtown, the old Louisiana National Bank building, that they have maintained so much of the historical structure while adding modern amenities. One of the coolest things, if you ever get a chance. Like the bar area is great in the lobby, great to people watch. The Gregory is an awesome dining experience. But go down the marble staircase in the lobby. And that's where the bank vaults were. And they've hollowed out these bank vaults into private dining and private meeting areas. You want to talk about a cool experience. It's an experience you can only have at the Watermark Hotel.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac, our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
There's never been a better time to catch a John Deere deal from the crew of Sunshine. Ask us about our low monthly payment options on our tractor packages and let the good times roll. With equipment strong enough to power one of the world's largest celebrations, we've got your needs covered too. Learn more about what it means to be powered by Sunshine at sunequip.com. Some restrictions apply. See dealer for details. Offer ends March 5th, 2025.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
Okay, I need your help, like for real. Am I crazy? Like, we could even go freak jury here. We haven't done a freak jury in a minute and a half.
It's been a while.
It's been a while since we've done freak jury. Okay, so many of you know that part of our content team here is LouisianaSports.net, which I'm very proud of. Our team has done awesome in the shortest month of the year, February. We are pacing for our best month ever, which is phenomenal. A Saints coaching search and college baseball getting started is just a huge boost, all that. But anyway, thank you to everyone who has read, continues to read. And by the way, I would highly, highly, highly recommend that if you have our app, the 104.5 ESPN app, turn on notifications, because that's how we push news from LouisianaSports.net. So, coach gets hired, game goes final, LSU gets a commitment. If there's breaking news, we push news through the 104.5 app. So, if you've downloaded the 104.5 ESPN app, make sure you turn on notifications so you can get our push notifications whenever there's breaking news. PSA, and if you haven't downloaded the 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge app, why not? Please do that now. Okay. Am I crazy? Chris Marler is our SEC writer for LouisianaSports.net. He's on Twitter at Vern Dumquist, and also is our social media manager. All the graphics and the video and all the stuff that you see on the 104.5 ESPN socials, that's all Chris's brainchild, right? He's very good at what he does. But he also might be insane, which drives me crazy. Right? So, like, I have to manage a guy who drives me crazy, but he's very good at what he does. So it's this weird juxtaposition, right? This is fair?
Yes, no, that's
okay.
fair, yeah.
All right.
I've seen it.
Yeah. We are oil and water, he and I.
Yes.
Like, we do not mix. We are just diametrically opposed personalities. So I have to manage him. He's very good at what he does, so I got to make him whatever. Okay. We have a group text with everybody on the staff so we can all kind of stay in touch with who's doing what and when and where, so this thing functions, fluidly. Marler at 5:19 says, heading to the store and leaving my phone, will be back in 30 at most. I reply, why in the world would you leave your phone? He puts, ended up bringing it, all good. I reply, I just can't imagine why in the year of our Lord 2025 anyone would go anywhere without their phone. He said it was on 4%. I said, charge it in the car. Like, to which he hasn't replied yet. Okay, here's my question. Am I crazy? Freak jury, am I crazy? Would you go anywhere and leave your phone? The only human I know that goes places without their phone is my mother-in-law. She's 75. She's old. I mean, she is old and forgetful. She's a wonderful woman, but, like, she's the kind that would, like, have a snake wrapped. No, I was just like a snake wrapped around her neck and then not realize it. Like, she would have her phone ringing in her pocket and be looking for her phone. Like, she's that kind. Like,
glasses on top of the head.
Where's my glasses?
Yeah.
They're right on your head. Yeah. Literally, would you go anywhere without your phone?
No, not on purpose, at least.
Paul, would you go anywhere without your phone?
No.
I would literally rather somebody punch me in my face and steal my wallet than steal my phone.
Yeah, okay, I don't really want anyone to steal anything, but if I had to pick. Yeah.
My phone is like everything in my life.
Yeah.
Everything is on my phone.
Well, also, we have, like, Louisiana Wallet, so a lot of your stuff on your wallet is in your phone as well. So, like,
Apple Pay, credit,
exactly,
all of it.
Like, yeah, definitely the phone over. Yeah,
everything's on my phone. Like, there's times like if I'm showing someone like a picture and they go to grab my phone out of my hand, I'm like, whoa, 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 hey, you want to fight? Touch my phone. I almost got in a fight with the jackass. What's his name?
Oh,
Captain America guy. Mackie.
Anthony Mackie.
Literally almost fought with Anthony Mackie. T-Bob was there. T-Bob can validate this story. Dude grabbed my phone out of my hand. I swear. Now, the big goons with him probably would have murdered me.
Probably.
But we damn near had a problem after the SEC championship game in 2019. I'm not talking tough. I'm just telling you, dude triggered a reaction in my brain where I saw the little flames in my eyes. Anyway, is anybody call? All right, so
we have no calls.
Okay,
right
all right,
now.
I haven't thrown out the number yet. All right, well, let's do this quickly. Freak jury. If you're not familiar with freak jury, this is easy. We don't screen, but if you're a jackass who tries to say anything other than yes or no, you get hung up on instantly and you don't get on air. Okay. Am I crazy? Or should I ask, would you ever leave? All right, let's not ask, am I crazy?
Right.
Let's ask the question. Would you ever go anywhere and intentionally leave your phone? I'm not going to take my phone with me. And I'm not talking about like a silent retreat or something like that, right? Like my dad goes to Manresa. I don't think you can bring your phone. Maybe you can. I don't know. But I'm talking about you going to work, you going to the store, you going to the library. If people still go to the library in 2025. Do people still go to the library in 2025?
I'm sure some people do.
Maybe somebody does. Probably my mother-in-law.
There you go. And
leaves
her phone.
Would you intentionally leave your phone? Yes or no? Would you intentionally leave your phone at home? Yes or no? We got him? There you go. First. All right. Would you intentionally leave your phone? Yes or no? You're up. Would you intentionally leave your phone? Yes or no?
Yes.
Hang up on that person. They're a lunatic.
We don't have anybody else yet. It was just that guy. We had 3.
I didn't get the call screen.
And then
they all hung up because I was...
Yeah.
Yeah, I probably should have given out the number.
Here we go.
What's what happens when you never take a phone call?
Yeah.
People forget, like, oh, the phone's here. We have 6 phone lines into the station. They're just we never use them. Remember, I used to have the call screen thing over here. Do I still have that?
No one does.
The Comerick stack?
Yeah, that's
a problem. I gotta get Bo on that.
Yeah.
All right, Muse, that's on you.
Yeah, well, I think we did well.
Screw up, you're fired.
What else is new? I think we did well on that first one, though.
You just keep coming back.
All right,
here we go.
Guy.
All right, here we go. All right, you're up. Would you intentionally leave your phone at home and go anywhere?
Yes.
Okay, hang on.
What's wrong with these people?
I mean, my dad told me when I was young, Matt, it takes all different types to make a world. Maybe no truer statement I've ever heard in my life, other than girls poop too, which that's true. It's true, they do.
Jeez. They don't, but anyway.
Yeah, they do.
No.
Oh, man. That used to be all over LSU when I was a student there. Was that when you were there? Did that still happen? No?
Not
People
at LSU.
would graffiti chalk all over campus. Paul went to Southeastern. Someone will remember this if you were at LSU. Like, it was like it was a website, girlspoop.com. Yeah, whatever it was.
I ain't going to that website.
I never visited it. I swear I never visited the website. I swear on a stack of 1,000 Bibles.
Okay.
I knew better. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
We got a couple more.
All right. Sure. Let's go. Let's talk to these lunatics. All right, Elo, you're up. Would you ever leave your phone intentionally? Okay, hang up on it. Next, would you ever go anywhere and intentionally leave your phone at home?
Hell no.
Thank you. He got into hell in there, too. But that's okay.
Yes or no?
I mean.
Anyway, so girlspoop.com, what'd you find?
Don't look that up. Yeah, don't look that up. Look it up and then text me in the show text and let me know what you say. I'm curious. Does it still exist?
Oh, man.
All right, I have a leadership dinner. That sounds stupid to say, but I to say it that way. But we have an executive team dinner tonight at 6:00. So Muse is going to handle Otterlocks with the Ott Father, so I can scoot and not be too terribly late. We're brought to you by Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, lmfj.com, lmfj.com for Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. They're the best. If you screwed up Valentine's Day, make it right. Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry can help. lmfj.com, lmfj.com for Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Thrill her with a gift in the red box. Look, when we're talking about Lee Michaels, we're talking about real mined diamonds. You will never see a lab or man-made diamond. This is an expression of your love. This is not a science experiment. Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. lmfj.com for Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Okay. I'm getting out of here. Muse will have Otterlocks. Otterlocks are already posted at louisianasports.net. Muse and Otter to wrap it up next here on AFR.
AFR.
Lowest prices, never any contracts. Lowest prices, never any contracts. Lowest prices, never any contracts. One more time. Lowest prices, never any contracts. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. Having a conversation with the guys over there today, and I'm thrilled. I'm thrilled at how many of our audience have already called, have gone to the website, have inquired, have scheduled those consultations. Man, I'm talking about changing your life. As someone who firsthand can tell you what hormone replacement therapy can mean for you. So many times you don't know how bad you feel until you start feeling good again. A simple blood test can let you know if you're a candidate for hormone replacement therapy. And maybe it's testosterone. Maybe it's another peptide like Somorelin to help with growth hormone. You want to maximize every day with real vitality and feel your best? YourGoodWood.com.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac, our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
There's never been a better time to catch a John Deere deal from the crew of Sunshine. Ask us about our low monthly payment options on our tractor packages and let the good times roll. With equipment strong enough to power one of the world's largest celebrations, we've got your needs covered too. Learn more about what it means to be powered by Sunshine at sunequip.com. Some restrictions apply. See dealer for details.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
All right, hour number 3 of After Further Review here on a Tuesday. Wrapping it up. Scone just having a jet for a dinner, so I'll go ahead and handle the last segment for us here. Been a great show so far. Only one thing left to do, and that is, of course, find out what we're betting on tonight. Otter Locks.
Otter Locks.
All right, time to win some money.
Presented by Lofton Staffing Services. At Lofton, we put people to work. Call us today at 924-0200 or go to lofton.jobs.
I think it's safe to say that I won the bet.
All right, so we turn to the Ott Father, Jimmy Ott. Otter, how are you?
Good, Moose. Solid night last night with 2 out of 3. Got another busy Tuesday. Got a 5-pack for you tonight on this Tuesday. Let's go to East Lansing, Michigan. Michigan State Spartans, they were down 16 with 9 minutes to go in the first half in Champaign, Illinois Saturday. Flipped it around 30 points, got Tom Izzo's record, broke Bobby Knight's record, and they win going away by 14 as about a 6-point dog. Illinois on the, Purdue, on the other hand, blew a lead against Michigan a week ago on Tuesday night. They also gave up 94 points to Wisconsin on Saturday at home and lost by double digits, 63% shooting they gave up. A little hungrier team in this spot, plus the points. Going to take Purdue plus the 3.5 in that Big Ten matchup. To the SEC, the hump in Starkville, Mississippi State. State's a nice win on the road on Saturday against their rival in Oxford at the Pavilion against the Ole Miss Rebels. They sweep that home-and-home rivalry series this year, and now gives them a nice cushion for the tournament. Teams from Mississippi State that are on their way to the tournament do not lose 4 conference games at home. You got games to go too. Yeah. They've already lost 4 at home. They're just not performing on the defensive end as much as we. A&M's as hot as anybody. Number 6 in the committee's poll that released on Saturday this past weekend. Stack another win by 8 at home against Arkansas. Take the Aggies plus the 2.5 on the road at Mississippi State. Continue on in the Big East. Go to Cincinnati, Ohio. Butler and Xavier. Xavier, line's going up from 6.5 to 7.5. No problem. Take the Muskies at home. They got to get things going a little bit. And so we're going to take them, just a better team at home in a single-digit spread. Illinois, we talked about them against Wisconsin. We talked about Wisconsin 63% shooting on Saturday at Purdue. Talked about Illinois blowing their 16-point lead, 30-point swing at home. The revert back to the mean theory here. It can't last like that. We're going to take the Illinois team, who's more talented than Wisconsin. They are a little bit underperforming right now, but just too many points on the road here for Illinois. So we're going to take Illinois plus the points at Wisconsin. And then our final pick, we're going to Provo, Utah. Kansas, the preseason number 1 team. Not even close to the number 1 team this year. They're on the road. They already lost in Salt Lake City on Saturday night. They finish off their mountain trip in the Big 12 in Provo, Utah tonight. BYU's tough at home. We think they'll be tough as well. They already beat Kansas State on Saturday night by 15. I think they'll take care of the Jayhawks tonight and minus the 2.5. As always, by the half point to the hole. So to try and avoid that loss by the hook. So take that hook out of it. So anyway, that's our lot. 5-pack for you tonight.
5-pack, 3 dogs, and 2 favorites from the Otter. Of course, you can get those picks over at LouisianaSports.net early. They are always posted there. Otter, where are you and Handy hanging out tomorrow?
We are at Roca Pizzeria on Government Street in Mid-City. A lot of really good things besides that great Neapolitan-style pizza. So glad to be over at Roca tomorrow. It should be a lot of fun. Great stuff.
Y'all get over to see the guys 11 to 1 live at lunch at Roca, or tune in on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Or, hey, watch them on YouTube. They're there now, too, as well. Otter, we appreciate it, and we'll talk to you again tomorrow.
All right, good luck, Moose.
Good luck. Of course, that is Jimmy Ott. Otter Locks. Just a quick recap. Gave you Purdue, the underdog, plus 3.5 by to 4. Texas A&M, the underdog, plus 2.5 by to 3. Xavier, minus 7.5 by down to 7. Illinois on a square number, plus 4. And then BYU, minus 2.5. You'll buy that down to 2. Again, you can get them at LouisianaSports.net. They are always posted there early. All right, that's just about going to wrap it up here on a Tuesday edition of AFR presented by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. Scone had to jet out for a dinner there earlier if you're just hopping on to the show. So carrying you home here for the final few. Man, we had a great show today, really jam-packed. Thanks to Shea Dixon for stopping by in his normal spot, Coach John Brady, talking about kind of the big picture with LSU basketball. If you missed that chat, I highly recommend you go find that on demand, presented by Brett Goff for after further review. And, of course, we sprinkled in some baseball all throughout. That's actually what I'm heading to do now. We'll get off the air here in a couple minutes. I'm going to run down the hall, record a post-game Moose at the Box, so be on the lookout for that. Anywhere you get your podcast, YouTube, and then, of course, your favorite podcast app. Just search Moose with the Box. That is greatly appreciated as well. So, actually, some thoughts on that. It was also just great to see LSU dominate a team that did beat them a season ago, but this was definitely a much different go-round for LSU and Southern here in 2025. LSU baseball improves to 4-0. So it was jam-packed. Tomorrow, really good show. Go ahead and let you know. Former St. James Hurst will be here on tomorrow's AFR, and he'll kind of carry us through the next wave of Kellen Moore. James was on the Saints when new, but now also old running backs coach Joel Thomas was in New Orleans for the first time, so he'll have an interesting perspective there. So we'll definitely do that, and of course recap LSU, South Carolina, and hoops. So jam-packed show already set for tomorrow, and I hope that you will obviously be with us then. Again, if you missed anything, you can catch it on demand. AFR on demand presented by Brett Goff, the AFR YouTube channels, AFR Saints, AFR LSU. Same for the podcast apps, or if you just want the full show podcasts, you can get that obviously over at any of your podcast apps. Just search After Further Review. All right, that's about going to put a button on it here for Tuesday's show. We appreciate everybody for being here, and hope that you join us again on tomorrow's show, Wednesday. That's more next on AFR.
AFR.
Always a pleasure to tell you about our friends at the Williamson Eye Center. Check them out online at williamsoneye.com. They've got locations all over the greater Baton Rouge area. On the Baton Rouge General Campus, you turn off a Bluebonnet onto Picardy, you make that right, and then right there at the stop sign, the building on the right, the first two floors, that's the Williamson Eye Center. State-of-the-art dry eye center, and it's full service. Of course, they have their state-of-the-art surgery center there where you can have your LASIK or whatever surgical procedure you're having. But they have your standard annual eye exam as well at the Williamson Eye Center. Learn more at williamsoneye.com. The thing I tell you every day is take the advice that I was given and change your life. To give yourself the gift of sight is absolutely incredible. If you're someone like me who spent your life with contacts or glasses, there is a way to be done with it forever. williamsoneye.com. Go see Dr. Blake Williamson for that free consultation. 924-2020. 924-2020 or williamsoneye.com for the Williamson Eye Center.
Need service now? Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram can get you same-day appointments for service, and we offer pickup and delivery of your vehicle from New Orleans to Baton Rouge. If you need sales and service, the crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared towards seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz vans.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac, our family serving your family.
For over 50